public. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that the stream is working, and then we will get started. Yep. It's working. Sweet. That's exciting.
All right.
You can like barely see me though. That's what. Oh well. Wonder if I can change the layout.
But what are you doing,
There we go.
Jackson? You're taking us on Google Meet and throwing it on the YouTube stream.
Yeah. So if you go look at YouTube real quickly, we are live right now, and you will see it. And I've got it now. I just switched it to where it's all of us, all 6 of us. Probably will be 7 of us later. Hey, Trey's here.
Wow, I have too many tabs open.
What's up, Trey? Can I hear you?
Trey's in.
It says you are muted.
How about now?
Yes, can hear you now.
There you go. Yeah. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. I guess since Trey.
First of all,
oh, go ahead, Trey.
No, fucking Alex. This guy's delusional. Huh? Can we start with that?
I haven't even done the intro yet, dude. We're just opening.
This guy thinks Detroit just lands max players out of nowhere. You think like LeBron's on the phone, like, "Hey man, let's go to Detroit. Let's fuck shit up." That doesn't happen. What world is he living in?
Well,
what are we doing
himself.
here?
He backed out of being on here tonight. He could have defended himself right here and right now. That should have been our pre-draft show. 2 of you just hammering it out.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You think Kawhi Leonard goes on the phone? He says, "Hey man, we're going to Oklahoma. We're gonna fuck shit up at TGI Fridays. We're getting lit there, man. It's gonna be a good time." Nobody does that. What is he talking about? What kind of fantasy world is he living in? He watches League Pass too much.
Plays too much 2K.
It's crazy. Jackson, you know you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan. How many max guys do they get?
Chandler Parsons.
Yeah, they get Chandler Parsons. They get Chandler Parsons. That's the point. You don't get LeBron. You don't get guys like you don't get Kevin Durant. You get Chandler Parsons. That's the world you live in. You're in Memphis. That's what you signed up for.
And we signed
what are we
him,
doing?
We still are technically to have a max player play for us.
He watches League Pass too much. That's the problem. But you haven't even done an intro, so go ahead. I just wanted to see you guys are doing okay.
All right, so we don't have too many viewers watching it right now. We got a few, but that's probably just us viewing to see how it's going. But if you're watching this after the fact, then welcome to Vendetta Sports Media's live reaction coverage of the 2020 NBA Draft. I guess I'm the host, Jackson. That's me. We'll go around here real quickly. You've already pretty much had the introduction to Trey right then and there. That little outburst is about all you need to know about him. So we'll just kind of go through everybody here real quick. I'll kind of go in order from the way it's laid out. Dakota, man, how you doing?
He's muted.
You gotta unmute yourself.
I'm doing well.
All right. Got Dakota. Jeremy, who wrote a big draft board piece that we will definitely be using tonight. Good job, Jeremy. It was awesome. I read through all 80 picks, or all 80 players that you did. How long did that take you to do?
Thank you. Probably 6 days. I tried to split it up. Like I tried to do like 15 each day because this is finals week for me. Like I'm going home tomorrow, so.
Like, but how long have you been like really scouting, like intensely scouting the players, every single one of them, even the guy at number 76? Like, I don't even know who it is right now off the top of my head.
Probably when I really went into it was May, I think. But I mean, I watch college basketball every night, so
Yeah.
I had a good grasp on most of those players coming in, and then just did a little extra.
Yeah, it was great, man. Like I said, it's going to be a great tool for tonight. Next, we got Braden. Braden is, I guess, fairly new. I can't remember when he joined, but how you doing, Braden?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I am pretty new. I just joined last month. I'm definitely excited to be with this part of this team, and I'm excited. So
Yeah.
it's my first live stream. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Braden, do you have a team that's got anything at stake in this draft, or are you just a NBA
Well,
fan?
I'm a diehard Bulls fan. So
Bulls fan? Okay.
the Bulls got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Uh,
So there's been a lot of rumors
lot of
today.
rumors.
There's been a lot of rumors
lot of
today
rumors.
about them moving up to 2, trading
Yeah,
Wendell Carter
yeah.
in the 4th pick. Would you be okay with moving away with Wendell if it meant getting James Wiseman or another wing player?
I wouldn't mind Weissman, but I really like Denchi. Avi. I can't say his last name. I'm very bad at pronouncing, but Denchi. I'd rather have him. So I would keep the 4th pick. That's what I would do. But I like Weissman, but I think we need a facilitator. And Denchi's a guy, or Denny. Is it Denny?
Yeah.
It's Denny.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm
he's
terrible
a
with names
facilitator.
too.
So
It's just it's the dude from Israel. That's how I've been
Yeah,
saying.
Israeli guy. Yeah.
So,
all right, all right.
All right, so next we got Anthony, my co-host for Toast Time, Toast Talk.
That's right.
The new podcast that we got on the Vendetta Sports Media Network. Anthony, how you doing, man?
Doing good. I mean, not bad, not bad. Lakers traded away their first round pick, so it's actually better for me, honestly.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
got
Boo
you
fucking
got
who? Boo fucking who?
yeah, but you got Dennis Schroeder out of it though.
Not my rig.
So
Hey, your life's miserable,
Not my
Anthony.
rig.
You know.
and you just won the championship, so yeah,
That-
Anthony doesn't
that
have
we
too
did.
much room to complain. He doesn't have too much room to
I
complain.
not much complaining for me. I
Yeah, and
got
the
LeBron
Lakers gonna be
Davis,
good.
Yeah.
LeBron and
Uh,
Anthony Davis, so all I need, baby.
Next, we've got Carl. Carl has been a writer on the site for a while now. Has been doing on again, off again backyard baseball series,
Yeah,
which we are all
mostly
highly,
off again.
highly anticipating the next episode of that to come
No,
out.
listen, I know, I get it. It'll be back once I'm on break and I'll have time to actually like film and edit all the episodes. Like Jackson, I don't know how you do it with like your 18 series that you're running right
It's
now.
because I hate
I don't know
myself,
how you
dude.
have time for that.
And I'm adding more. That's the thing. I can't stop. Okay, I have a literal addiction to this shit.
Yeah, we need
okay?
intervention.
I cannot stop it. Oh, whatever. And again, it's the boss man, the Don, Trey. Like I said, anything you need to know about him and his personality. First thing he says, is just like "fuck Alex." That's the first words out of his mouth. That's all
I don't
you
know
need
if
to
I said
about
that, but he needs a reality check. But I just wanted to see how you guys are doing. I will most likely be calling in again when the Celtics pick because I'm just preparing myself for a brutal night. Just got a really bad feeling about what's going to happen
I'm
today.
kind
I
of
got
hoping that it is
real
a brutal
bad-
night for the Celtics, just because I want to hear. I want us to be in the middle of a conversation.
No thanks.
And you just to hop in and just be all angry, like an angry stepdad that's been drinking a lot. And
No, but I wish you guys well tonight. I'll be watching, so make me proud. I'm gonna be getting pretty blasted the next few days, so I'm gonna check out here. You guys take over. I'll be watching, but good luck to you guys.
Thanks, Trey.
Yep.
Thanks, Trey. All right. So we've got
So,
quite a
let
bit
me-
of time. Oh, go ahead. Who's talking?
I was gonna say, Jack. I got a little prediction. Right when
Oh, yeah?
right after Celtics make the first pick, we should expect Trey to come in here all firing, fire in his eyes, angry, screaming, ranting.
The only way I think he is happy is if they stay at 14 and Cole Anthony is available, because that's who he really wants the Celtics to get. He's got others in mind, like Precious out of Memphis, but he really wants Boston to pick up Cole Anthony, and I think if they do that, he'll call in and he'll he'll feel a bit better, but he'll still be disappointed just because he's pretty pessimistic about his Celtics sometimes, especially with the draft. All right, I'm trying to bring
Cole
that
Anthony
up.
would be cool. I don't know if the Celtics need another 6-foot point guard though. They already have Carson Edwards. They got that Waters kid out of LSU. Kemba's like 6 feet tall.
Yeah, but Cole is. I would say Cole is much better than Edwards and could be
Oh,
the
absolutely.
heir
Yeah,
apparent.
Cole is what they thought Carson was going to be. Yeah, so then there's so many guys on that team. Like they have to trade one of their young pieces at some point, I'd have to think.
They don't even have enough roster spots for all 3 picks tonight.
Right.
Yeah, so they're gonna do something. The rumor mill's active for the Celtics these days, so
Yeah, and I think if they get rid of Marcus Smart, which the rumor today was he was going to Golden State for the 2nd pick, then I think Anthony would be better. But I still think Anthony's a good fit as a combo guard, as a score first guy.
Yeah.
On the
Do you
second
think that will change with the Klay Thompson's entry that's just been released about an hour ago?
I was going to ask about that
yeah.
tonight. Yeah, so I guess we can go ahead and this is a question I kind of add. I know I sent you guys some questions. If you have them prepared, that's great. If not, then we'll see how well you can think on your feet. But I was going to ask how the Thompson injury affects, if it affects the trade in any way tonight, especially if it's as bad as it's sounding, where they made it kind of sound like it could be Achilles related. Not 100% sure. They were just really vague on it being lower leg injury. I saw a report where he couldn't put any weight on it. So that's scary. NBA player can't walk on your leg. Yeah, that's not good news. That's news that you do not want to hear if you are a Golden State fan or if you're Klay Thompson. It doesn't look good for your season, especially with it being an upcoming shortened season, a 72-game season, and then just a shortened break in between essentially what this point would be the draft and the season starting December 22nd than the time that it normally would. So I was just going to hand it to you guys. We'll continue to go in order, the order that I asked it in, unless I point, specifically anywhere else. We'll go around the horn and we'll talk about it. So Dakota, do you see this affecting Golden State, who they draft? Do they continue to try to move back, or do they stay with number 2 for sure? What happens with Golden State?
Can I actually go last on this one? I'm going to move spots in my apartment.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Jeremy, go ahead then.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on obviously how serious the injury is, because if it's serious and he's going to miss another year, it's going to be hard for Golden State to push it back another year. They already pushed back last season. They already, kind of tanked last season. So, if it's really serious and they think that it's going to hinder him for the future, Anthony Edwards could be in play at 2. But again, I still think they're going to lean towards Wiseman because they know they could win now. And James Wiseman, it's what I had said in my big board is that he's pretty much what he's going to be. I think he's going to come in the league with averaging a double-double. 7-1, he's strong. I think he can do that. So if they want to win now, I think Wiseman's still the best piece. But if they're really concerned about Thompson's future production, then they might take a shooting guard with Edwards. It's possible.
Okay. Braden, do you have any input on how Golden State may react?
With this news just being released a little over an hour before draft time, it's really hard to really grasp on what's going to happen and what they think they should do. I think they should just stick with their original plan and what they may have, and maybe just see what happens. If they need to go for free agency, you have plenty of time to do that. Go and pick your, get your number 2 guy. Like Jeremy said, get Wiseman. If Klay Thompson is really out, you can always go to free agency or try to do a trade. I think there's a lot of options you can look at right there.
Okay. Anthony, what you think, man?
Look, Klay Thompson, as we all know, he's one of the best players in the league, perennial all-star. Any significant injury to him again would be detrimental to the Warriors, regardless of who they draft, unless free agency they grab somebody completely unexpected, but I really don't see that happening. I mean, I see them now looking for more guards. So maybe instead of James Wiseman, like everyone has been saying, even though Golden State's been kind of like really weird that they don't really want another big for some reason. Like they just don't want it. James Wiseman. I could see them going for Edwards maybe if he does fall because of his quotes that came out today, such as "I can rap, no cap." You know, so I just but listen, the Warriors are smart. They're not going to overly panic to this. Klay Thompson hasn't really been injured before the past 2 years, so it could change up their draft order. It could change up their draft order a little bit. Could make them get Edwards if he slides a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see.
Carl?
Yeah, I mean, the prevailing thought going into next season was that the Warriors were just going to reload, and a big part of that was Klay Thompson. So if he's out, I'd have to assume that they'd probably be panicking maybe a little bit. I think like free agency pickups for them are probably pretty unlikely with their current cap situation and the contracts they have on the books. So I don't know. I mean, if Thompson's out, I think they'll either try to trade out of the pick to try to get somebody who can contribute right away, or they'll try to get somebody who's more of like a primary ball handler and more of a shooter, like maybe Denny, maybe LaMelo if he's there. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like I have to think this changes things just because they were going in with the mindset that they would be fully back in contention. And so if it's as serious as it sounds, they'll probably have to make some moves on the fly.
Here's an idea. What if they trade the second pick, or if they trade back and then they trade that pick for Bradley Beal? What do you think about that?
I think it would still have to take the second pick because which it's odd. There's odd language coming out of Washington because they've talked about how they want to keep it Wall and Beal at least one more year, maybe even half a season, just to see if it'll work or not. But then again, Wall and Westbrook have been in trade talks with swapping the two of them with Houston. So I don't know. The language coming out of Washington is really interesting. But that could definitely be on the table. But I don't see Washington. It would have to be really intriguing. It would definitely have to include that second pick.
Right.
Probably nothing later. And it would probably take Wiggins too. I would imagine it would take Wiggins
I
and
don't
the second.
Think,
and there's no other
like
cap
that.
or there's not other draft capital really that they have that's immediate that they could give to, or that would be worth a ton of value.
Yeah, I don't think a trade like that could be done tonight. But I think it could be something similar to when the Cavs traded Wiggins for Kevin Love. They could do something like that in a few weeks. They trade whoever they take at 2. I think it would have to be Wiseman. I think Wiseman would intrigue Washington the most.
Okay. Dakota, if you're back, then let's hear your answer. The Klay Thompson injury, does this affect the strategy for Golden State coming into draft night and how they approach this season?
Yeah, I think it does because they had thought that they're going to be fully healthy this year with Steph and Klay at the 1 and 2. This could factor that a little bit, just knowing that Klay might not be healthy at the start of the season. So they might have to build at the shooting guard depth. And if Anthony Edwards is there, I could see Golden State taking him.
Yeah, because if they do decide to go the opposite route, there's essentially, if they don't go the Wiseman route, but they keep their pick and they decide to take Edwards, then what they could do is eventually, whenever Klay Thompson comes back healthy, one of those two dudes could slip over down into the 3 if they wanted to run a really small lineup and they still had Wiggins. But I still think that even with this injury, their desire is to still package the number 2 pick and Wiggins for someone that they think they can compete. And even the scenario that Jeremy just came up with, where they package that deal and send it in for Beal, then that's intriguing because then it's okay to have Thompson slide down once he's back from the 2 to the 3 because he's big enough and plays good defense to run the 3 spot. Beal, bit on the smaller size, can run that 2 spot. Okay, so we'll transition and get into some of our, I guess, more basic, generic, stereotypical draft questions that every other network probably has, but they can evolve. Of course, we got some smart minds here, so they can go anyway. We got about 11 and a half minutes until the draft starts, but then of course, what is it? 10 minutes are on the clock. Is that how long they're on the clock? Is it 5 or 10? Does anybody
I
know?
believe it's 10.
10. Okay, so yeah, we got plenty of time to chit chat. So we'll go down the list here, and we will start with Jeremy on this one. I will alternate who goes first here. Okay, so Jeremy, who is your biggest bust potential player?
I wrote an article about this that got some strong reviews. I
was just thinking about this actually.
I think it's Killian Hayes, in my opinion. The played in the French league for the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good passer. He's pretty good with the ball. I just think I really don't see his scoring translating that well. I think a lot of he just didn't face competition that played that great at defense. And I think he's very one-dimensional on offense. In all of the film I watched of him, I never saw him drive right. I never saw him finish at the rim using his right hand. He only used the left hand. And I know it's easier to tell for a lefty who's left-hand dominant than a righty when they're right-hand dominant. But that's just so evident, and I think that defenses are really going to not have an easy time, but I think they're going to be able to defend him fairly easily. So I don't see him being a number one option on a team like some people are projecting him. And, I mean, I just think at his ceiling, he's just going to be a pass-first point guard who, if he's starting, he'll get you 6 assists per game, but I don't see him scoring much.
Any Killian Hayes lovers in the chat in here? Anybody wanna comment? Everyone kind of agree with what Jeremy's saying?
I mean, I'll keep ripping on Killian Hayes while we're talking about him. So for me, something that's super suspicious is the amount of hype that's been developing for him over the last couple weeks that sort of just came out of nowhere. I feel like that happens almost every year with these international guys. And so I'm just getting weird Frank Ntilikina vibes from this where he got drafted at 8 and everyone was he's not that great, but sure, I guess. And then he ended up being terrible. And so that's kind of what I'm getting with Hayes where for a while people were saying, oh, he's borderline lottery, maybe 11, 12 pick kind of guy. And then mock drafts are coming out even this week that have him at 2 or 3. And I don't know where all the hype came from. I don't buy it. I would stay away from Hayes also.
Yeah, and he's if you go on Twitter, he's the number 1 prospect on a couple of big boards. I've seen him at 2, I've seen him at 3, and
that's crazy.
I don't really know what people are getting that from. I mean, Ntilikina is a better defender than Hayes is. Coming out, Ntilikina was a much better defender, so I don't even know how you can think that's what he's going to be as a GM.
Braden, let's go to you. Biggest bust potential player in this draft.
So for me, I haven't really been paying attention to a lot of college people, so I don't have a lot of insight on a lot of guys that are higher than 20 or 30. But I mean, obviously, I'm not a big fan of players from international either. You just don't really know what they're going from the game where they were in to go on to now, and how that's going to translate into how they're going to perform in the NBA. I know everybody is, and you always hear these number 1 picks. Every once in a while they come by, everybody hypes them up. I could be very, very wrong on this, but I could easily see this going either way. LaMelo Ball. I don't really know anything about LaMelo. I mean, other than his dad and his older brother. I haven't really heard much about how he's been playing over at what country was he playing in? I just don't know what the game's like there. I read what Jeremy's put down is that he scored 91 points in a high school basketball game. I mean, there's a lot different game, so I don't know. It's be interesting to see, if LaMelo could, translate into the NBA and become a really star.
Rebuttals? Anyone? Comments?
Yeah,
I would just
actually,
say, yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anthony, go first. Anthony, go.
LaMelo, yeah, all right. LaMelo Ball, look, he's grown like a lot, not even physically, but I think mentally. Like I've actually seen a number of interviews that he's done, leading up to this draft, and he like really surprised me because like once he went to Australia and kind of left like LeVar Ball, Big Baller brand, like once that all went away, you didn't hear nothing about the Ball brothers anymore. So LaMelo Ball kind of just like faded into like kind of like a distant memory. Like he was just playing in Australia, and like we were just like, we'll pick up on him later on. And I tell you what, he's matured. Like his interviews, I really like the way he presented himself. Like, many people might not think that's a big thing, but I personally think when it comes to NBA players, I think your maturity plays a big factor in it. He's improved a lot in his like just his physical traits. Like he grew to he's 6'7" now, I believe. And he may not be the best defender, but I mean he's finishing at the rim against, you want to call them semi-pros or pros. I mean, we'll call them pros for namesake. International players over in Australia, but I don't know. I think LaMelo Ball is gonna be the one of the biggest stars of this draft. Honestly, personally, I think he's going to be the best player out of this draft. That's just me. 10 years down the road, I think LaMelo Ball is going to be one of the best ones, probably the best one.
So these are type of players that could go either way. Could you potentially see this going opposite direction?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, look what happened with Lonzo. Honestly, though, I mean, there was so much hype around him, and that was really all because of his dad and just ESPN and all these other networks giving LeVar Ball airtime for no reason at all. It remains to be seen, but I think LaMelo has a bigger upside than Lonzo. Lonzo was really not a good scorer. He was really just a really good facilitator, passing and defending at the point guard position. So I think LaMelo can translate better because of the way the NBA is now with just its big emphasis on scoring. So I see LaMelo being better than his brother. But at the same time, you never know with draft prospects. Although I think LaMelo has the skill set, we'll have to see if it translates to the NBA.
All right, Jeremy, do you want to speak your piece on this or?
Yeah, I agree with just about everything that Anthony said. I mean, he's a 6'7" point guard. I mean, he's probably the best playmaker in the class. It's hard to turn away from someone like that, especially when you're picking at the top of the draft when you are obviously in need of a facilitator. There were scoring concerns. He shot 25% from three, but like I had mentioned in my article, I mean, he scored 91 or 92 in a high school game. So like, he's a very comfortable shooter. He's not afraid to keep shooting until it clicks. He's got great range. He's good in the paint. He could finish the ball. And I mean, again, with the passing, I mean, he's one of the best passers. I think he's going to arguably be the best player. Yeah.
All right. Let's move to Anthony. I know you just talked a lot on that one, but let's talk about who you got as your biggest bust. And it's okay if you guys have the same one, because then that just means that player probably is going to be a bust. So, Anthony, go ahead.
All right. Actually, I think Cole Anthony honestly is going to be the biggest bust. I did not like the way he played in North Carolina. Like, I just feel like going into that season, North Carolina, they may have not had the talent around him in that recruiting class, but at the same time, they shouldn't have been as bad as they were if he was supposed to be so good. Like, and just watching his games, he didn't perform well at all. like for the most part of it. I mean, down the stretch, he started to like really kind of get into it a little bit, but I don't know. Like, I just see him as very underdeveloped. I personally think Cole Anthony should have stayed another year with Roy Williams over at UNC. I think maybe one more year in college might have really benefited him. Um, like, I personally think that he's a little premature coming out of the draft, and he may crumble under the pressure of the NBA limelight, especially being picked in the first round, which he's most likely going to be. But honestly, I think he's going to be the biggest bust. My pick right now, biggest bust, Cole Anthony.
Anybody care to share some more? That's definitely one I did not expect.
Really?
Yeah. I'll say something. I mean, so he at North Carolina averaged, I think, like 18 and a half points, 5 boards, 4 assists or something, which, like, that's impressive. Like, especially in the ACC, I think he was pretty much consensus, like, top 4, top 5 guy in the class coming into college. And North Carolina had a really down recruiting year. They didn't have any other 5 stars, I don't think, besides him. And I think just after he got hurt for a little bit, like mid-season, and then North Carolina just had a terrible year and finished like bottom 2 in the ACC. So I think that's like where people are starting to underrate him a little bit. But he's still really good. Like, there's nothing that happened. I mean, unless you have injury concerns about him, where like maybe he's not as good since getting injured. But like, I still think he's really good. I think he's a, great scorer, and just like a bucket getter. I think he can be really good.
All right, Carl. Well, since you're the one talking there, we can go ahead and transition to your pick on who you think will be the biggest bust.
Yeah, so I kind of already got into it, but mine was going to be Killian Hayes. I just I just don't see it. Like, I don't get what the hype is about. He overseas, he averaged, I think, like 12 and 7 or something, which like is fine, but he wasn't like lighting it up over in France or Germany or wherever he was playing. So I don't really see where all this like top 5 hype is coming from. I think his ceiling might be like well, maybe not ceiling, but I'd say his probably most likely scenario is turning into what Jeremy said, where he's sort of like a pass first, sort of like an Alfred Payton type of point guard, where like he's kind of just in there leading the second unit, getting some assists, but not really scoring the ball a whole lot.
All right.
Yeah, I really like that comparison, Alfred
Yeah.
Payne. I think that's a good comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. So we've talked a lot about Killian Hayes, so we'll go ahead and we'll move on to Dakota. Dakota, who is your pick for who you think will be the biggest bust of this draft?
So coming into today, it was Killian Hayes, just like Carl. But today, I've actually changed I think my bust is going to be, and just knowing that he doesn't like the game of basketball, I think it's going to be Anthony Edwards.
He can rap, no cap.
He can rap, but I
No
don't
cap.
think he's the bust in the NBA.
No cap.
Because if you take a look at history, players that like don't like the game of basketball but they play because they're good at it, they haven't transitioned well into the NBA. They were fine at the college level, but once they got to the NBA, they were done.
Yeah. I'm a little worried
And one of those
about.
players-
I'm personally a little worried. I kind of lean towards like Killian Hayes is a I think he'll do okay in the league. Maybe not as super high on him as other people are, but I think Edwards, just the fact that he doesn't really have a 3-point shot right now, and yeah, it does kind of worry me that the day of the draft, he's talking about how he just kind of wants to rap, and that if he could, he'd drop everything and go play football instead. So if I had to lean on one pick, personally, I would probably go with Anthony Edwards because he could be picked 1 through 3. That's where it kind of fits in for me. It's where you're picked at, the hype around you, and then eventually how you do in the league. Do you live up to that 1, 2, or 3 spot? And most of them really don't ever. And I saw a statistic today. It was like since 1980, only 6 number 1 overall picks have won an NBA championship with the team that drafted them. And I don't know what the number is for how many that eventually won one, but the list was fairly short. One of them, see, I can't remember. I can only remember like half of them. It was like Hakeem, and then LeBron and Kyrie. Those are the only two. Which LeBron is a technicality because he left, won some chips, then came back, and then won a championship. But technically, it is the team that drafted him, so it counts. It counts. All right. So now we're gonna do the opposite of the pick. It looks like the draft is starting now. I see Adam Silver.
Yeah, Adam Silver.
That bright bald head of his just shining like the light on a hill.
Bald.
But while they're doing that, and once kind of the picks start to come in, that's where we'll do more reactionary stuff. And of course, we have other questions that we'll try to get to tonight. But we'll try to go a little bit quicker here with this one. We'll start with you, Braden. What is one player that you think that other people are overlooking, but that they really need to pay more attention to?
I actually would like to come back around. Just want to just take a look at a couple of names really quick, and then I'll be able to get kind of idea.
All right, Anthony, we'll start with you then.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if you really want to count this, but I don't know, for some reason I feel like Obi Toppin. I feel like he's a lot better than like people think. Now, granted, he is projected top 10, but still, in my opinion, I still feel like he hasn't really been like talked about as much as like the other top 10 picks. Like I actually was able to watch like most some or most of the Dayton games whenever they played, and he just like really like stuck as like I was looking at this guy and like he was just like flying up and down the court. Like I just feel like he like really has it. And you know what? It sucks that we didn't get the NCAA tournament, because I'm telling you right now, I really think Obi Toppin would have really like, boosted his draft stock with the tournament. He would have brought Dayton on some pretty decent run. And that's where like most of draft stock, like a lot of it comes from. Like think about if we didn't have an NCAA tournament when Kemba Walker was drafted. You really think Kemba Walker would have went as high as he did if we didn't have that? He didn't have that tournament run. So I just feel like I feel like Obi is one of those players that I feel like people haven't really given that much credit to. They kind of just slotted him in at number 10 and just like kind of didn't really talk about him after that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're like spot on that. I think if we would have had an NCAA tournament, I think he would have been more recognized, more well known, and maybe his draft stock would have risen. 100%. It's a pretty solid pick for whatever gets him. He will be a good player for whatever.
All right, real quickly before we go any further, I've got an ad to read for us. Let me just go to it real quickly, and I am going to switch over. Boom! So one of our two sponsors today, one of them is XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee is a coffee brewed and made for gamers that have a ton of rich and bold flavors that will surely keep you energized for your next gaming scenario. If you're looking at my screen right here, you can see all the types of flavors that they have. I have ordered this isolation flavor. It should be coming in. I was hoping it would come in tonight, so I had a nice little plug for the stream. But they've got 4 different types of beans, and if you go to their website, you can see here you've got 12-ounce, 6-ounce, 2-pound bags. You can get them as whole bean if you like to grind your own beans, or you could get them good enough for coarse French presses, drips, or fine ground beans for drawing espresso. And if coffee's not really your thing, but if you like the idea, if you like XP as a company, then of course they have hot chocolate as well. That tastes very good. So if you just follow the link down in the description, it'll be in the description of the stream right here. Then you yourself can go buy some XP coffee and lose yourself in the wonderful taste and flavor of XP coffee. All right, so it looks like we've got just over a minute left, and I keep hitting the wrong tab to get back. There we are. Sorry, my camera is like right in front of the tab that is for getting back to here. I'm going to try to move it real quickly without exiting out. There we go. All right. We're good now. All right, so it looks like we got less than a minute left.
So it turns out they have 5. Yeah, they got 5 minutes.
Yeah, they got 5 minutes. Okay, so Carl, real quickly explain who is someone that you think is being overlooked tonight or undervalued.
Yeah, I picked this guy in our mock draft that we did like about a week or so ago, and I'm going with Desmond Bain, point guard out of TCU.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's getting really slept on. I don't really know why. He's like 6'6", knockdown shooter, has great instincts on offense and defense, and I think he can be probably an immediate contributor to anybody's bench. I mean, it does depend on who picks him and what their depth is looking like, but 6'6" playmaker, guy who can shoot the ball. I don't see how you can really go wrong with this guy.
All right, so it looks like the number one pick is coming in, according to Woj, because Woj is the greatest spoiler out there. Looks like
James.
it looks like Anthony
He knows
Edwards.
it better than the TV.
Anthony Edwards will go number one to the Timberwolves.
So are you saying that LaMelo Ball could go to the Golden State Warriors?
He could, or the Charlotte Hornets. We don't know what's going to happen at 2 yet.
That's true.
That's why draft night is so
Not
much
gonna lie, I
fun.
was really-
The anticipation just
I was really hoping.
building up. But I mean, Woj
Silver's
and
walking up right now.
yeah, Woj and Shams. I'm a little behind because I'm having to stream it. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking at our live
but
chat.
yeah.
I got
Edwards.
Alex out.
Yeah,
playing
Anthony
spoiler
Edwards.
for me
All right,
in the
so-
live chat.
all right. So what do we think? How will Edwards pair with the Timberwolves? How does he fit? What kind of lineup do you expect for them to run? Anyone chime in?
Well, I mean, listen, I think Edwards, he's obviously one of the best players in this draft. I guess his talent was so good to the Timberwolves that despite his ridiculous comments yesterday or today, that they still took him number one. So, I mean, you know what? Good to him. And look, a lineup with him, Karl Anthony Towns. That they got to start as something good over in Minnesota. It just depends on how fast Anthony Edwards develops, because Karl Anthony Towns is eventually going to be getting on that point of he might I'm not going to just say that he's going to just leave, but free agency, everyone's got a price, and Minnesota's going to have to start winning soon for to keep that team together and keep Towns around for them to have a legitimate shot of being a contender. But good pick for the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, at least he's got good upside, good athleticism. So we'll see what they do with that.
Right. Dakota, what you think, man? Edwards, number one overall. Does he deserve it? Is he going to fit well?
No, he doesn't deserve it. With the comments that he made today, he does not deserve it. And honestly, I'm just going to go out and say this: Damian Lillard is going to crush him in a rap battle.
That would be really fun to see.
Of course.
Loyal to the soil, baby. Dame Dollar. All right. Jeremy, what you think, man? Good fit?
I like the pick. I think it's a good fit in the sense that they need another scorer on that team. I mean, besides Russell and Towns, they don't really have any scorers.
Mhm.
I mean, Jarrett Culver's a defensive stopper. Okogie's a defensive stopper, and they don't really have much depth on the bench. My only question is, how is it going to work between Edwards and Russell? Because they're both high volume scorers, but they both take a lot of shots each game. So I'm just curious to see how that dynamic's going to work. Who's going to take more shots? Who's going to be the main ball handler? Because, I mean, Russell's more of a combo guard than he is a point guard. And Edwards, I don't think, is going to run the point. So it's going to be interesting to see how the...
Do we think that they got a Dwayne Wade, or do we think that he's just another Andrew Wiggins? Just a bit beefier.
I think it's somewhere in between.
2.0.
I think it's a little in between because he's a better shooter than Wiggins, but I don't think he's Dwayne Wade.
If Anthony Edwards is not a bust, I think he could be more of a Victor Oladipo.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that. But
All right. So we'll while we're waiting for that last pick to come in, although Woj ever the spoiler talking about that they may go James Wiseman here at number 2, which is what a lot of us kind of figured.
Honestly, why can't he just let me watch it on ESPN? Why does he gotta ruin it on Twitter for me? Like a minute before the pick comes in, he's gonna go and start telling us who they pick.
I mean, it's kind of helpful when we're doing a live stream and we're a little bit behind. So right now is about the only time that it is helpful. In years past, it was kind of annoying.
So if
and it is official, it's just been announced.
Yeah. So when the Warriors take Wiseman, I'm gonna get started on my LaMelo to the Hornets article, which I didn't want to have to write because, and the reason I didn't want to write this is because I had him number 1 on my board, and if he goes to Charlotte, I don't know how he's going to be the best player in the class. Like, I just don't know how that's possible.
That's tough, dude.
So,
that's tough.
It's a tough one to write, but
MJ likes to spend more time golfing and smoking his cigars and creating documentaries than running his basketball team.
I might as well just start it now.
You might as well go ahead and start now. Yeah.
Exactly.
So with that,
Woj tweeted, Charlotte is focused on LaMelo Ball.
Yeah. Okay. Right. And so it looks like that. It looks like Wiseman is going to Golden State, and we've already talked about it a little bit. But if anybody wants to chime in real quickly, I think that he does easily right now at a young age what like JaVale McGee and Willie Cauley-Stein have done for them in the past, which they don't need scoring from the low post. They just need someone that can run up and down the floor, play defense, get rebounds. Wiseman can do that. Instantly come in, the size, the athleticism, the strength that he has. I'm not too worried about him. It's a good pick. It's a safe pick, especially if they couldn't find a good trade that they liked. But that even may change. Maybe they get a good package. Maybe they decide to run a small ball, and maybe they do ship Wiseman and Wiggins off for a Beal type player. Who knows? But does anybody have anything else to chime in here? You look like.
I think Wiseman has more athleticism than
we'll
like the Willie Cauley-Stein have in the past. So I think this is a great pick for Golden State because Stephen Curry will be able to lob it up to James Wiseman on an alley-oop.
Just kind of go back on the conversation. I'm sorry. Back to where we had with Golden State with Klay Thompson's entry. I think this is like you were saying, we could easily package this to a good player in a trade where I think they just gotta wait to see what happens with Klay Thompson. So I just don't think they should raise a red flag yet right away. I think just give it time.
Okay. Anybody else? Like I said, we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, how we thought with talking about the Klay Thompson injury. About the fit. Anybody else got something to say about it? If not, or Carl, do you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, I think this actually would be psych with Klay Thompson out, because if you're only going to have really Steph Curry like chucking shots up from 3, then You're going to need somebody inside maybe to take some attention off of him. And, you won't have Thompson out on the perimeter, assuming he's out for at least a little bit of time. So I think this could actually work out. We'll see what their scheme looks like with Curry, Wiggins, who's more of like a mid-range. I don't even really know what his offensive scheme would look like, and Wiseman. So we'll see.
All right. So since at least on my stream, ESPN hasn't even announced it yet, but if Woj speaks it, it is gospel. He is from the gods of basketball, the avatar, the angel sent down to us. So we'll go ahead and we'll pick up where we left off in our question about player that maybe is overlooked that you think, in your opinion, or underrated by a lot of people. We'll pick up Dakota. Who is your pick for a player that is undervalued, underrated, or you think that people are kind of overlooking?
One player that I think could be underrated is going to come towards the end of the draft this year. Jaden McDaniels out of the University of Washington. As a Ducks fan, I had a big chance to watch him play last year, and he's a 7-foot sniper from beyond the arc. I mean, he can shoot at a very high volume from beyond the arc, but he has the athleticism to run the ball and be able to do some playmaking skills as well.
Okay. Anybody got anything to say? Anything else?
Is that the guy? Is that the guy from? Yeah, is that the guy from Oregon? I think I seen him. That's like the tall white guy. Or am I thinking of someone else?
No, he's from Washington.
Oh, Washington. I was thinking of the guy from Oregon.
So this kid finished. Okay. I've written some stuff about him because I think his potential is pretty good, but his decision making is so unbelievably poor. He was top 10 for forwards in all of college basketball in turnovers. He was second in the entire country in technical fouls as a freshman, and he took a lot. He has like an undeniably good offensive game, but he takes just some really questionable shots at times. I mean, if he gets sort of his attitude or whatever, and gets his shot right and starts making some better decisions offensively, I can see it working out. As I think he's projected probably to go late first round right now. So yeah, for me, I don't know about Jaden McDaniels just yet. I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay. Jeremy, I know you're kind of busy right now, starting your article and everything, but who is your pick? Who do you see? Who's undervalued in your eyes?
Yeah, so I've written some articles on this. I've mentioned guys like Desmond Bain. I've talked about Devon Dotson, Tyshawn Alexander. Those are some of the guys I like. But I'm going to say Isaiah Joe, the shooting guard from Arkansas. And I've seen him starting to slide up. I saw a rumor that the Sixers might be interested in him. But I think he for sure should be a first rounder. I have him at 25. I think he's definitely a top 25 player in the class. He's just a great shooter. And he's pretty good with the ball in his hands. He can catch and shoot. He can shoot off the dribble. He's hard to guard, especially around the perimeter. He's got to improve on defense for sure, but I think he could come in the league, be very valuable around the perimeter for any team that drafts him.
Yeah, Arkansas, kind of weird. They have two guards, two shooters that are fairly at least desirable in a lot of people's eyes, with Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones. Being involved with Grizzlies Twitter in some capacity, not like major, but just like following, casually looking into everything. There's a lot of Grizzlies players that would be happy if either one of them fell in the second round to 40, I think it is. Or there's even some of them that are wanting the Grizzlies to try to move up into the 30s, like trade that, or even into the late part of the first round. You just use a bunch of second round picks and go after one of the dudes from Arkansas. But thank you for showing some Arkansas love. I appreciate it. I'm from Arkansas and closet Razorback fan. I don't show it out in public because we are
For sure.
mocked by the SEC and everywhere else for every sport except for baseball. We're good at baseball, but that's about it. And we win some soccer and cross country apparently too, but unfortunately no one really pays attention to those. All right, so Dakota, do you have one now? Well, it looks like the pick is in. Well, we'll come back to you in a second, Dakota, because we got to talk about this. And it looks like it is going to be LaMelo Ball going to Charlotte. So, Jeremy, we'll start with you because you're writing this article right now. How is it? The fit? How do you see his growth? The players that are around him? How do you see it going?
I just think it's going to be really tough for him to grow because he's going to be arguably the best player on the team there when he comes in. I mean, if he goes to Minnesota or if he goes to Golden State, he's got here, they're reading it right now. Yeah, all right. Anyway, if he goes to Minnesota, he can run the pick and roll with Towns, or if he goes to Golden State, he can pass to Curry. He's got Draymond, Clay, if he's healthy. But coming into Charlotte, it's going to be hard for him to just immediately be that guy to come in. He's going to be the face of the franchise. I just think it's going to be tough for him to be the number one player in the class when he gets his start on a team like this.
Okay. Carl, what you think, man? The fit, his growth, same question.
So I agree. I think him being in a place with this could just wind up being a similar situation to what he had in Australia, where it's kind of like just him and he's sort of the focus and he's just sort of doing his thing, like chucking up some shots, getting his teammates open. So we'll see. I can see how this could hurt his development for sure. But this was, I think, in the last mock draft I did, this is where I had him going. And I just think with Charlotte doesn't really have any playmaking at all. They don't really have a true go-to star since they traded Kemba Walker. So I think LaMelo will probably provide some of that. And he's been developing all on his own anyway. So I can't fault them for this pick. I think it was the best thing for them.
Kind of like a best player available, which, I mean, it's LaMelo, and we all kind of agree that we think LaMelo will turn into something. Unless he landed in Charlotte, and here he is in Charlotte.
Yeah, and I mean that's not to say that he's not gonna, be an all-star in Charlotte, but in terms of being the number one prospect in the class, in order to qualify for that, you got to be I would say perennial all-star, and you got to get your team in contention and win a championship, and I don't see that happening in Charlotte.
And now you have to worry about him carrying on Kemba's legacy, where they're always so close to getting there, and Kemba developed into a great player, and LaMelo will probably develop into a great player, but they could never put the pieces around him, and that's probably unfortunately what may happen to LaMelo here, unless he, and who knows. Let's go to Braden. What you think, man? What you think of the pick here at number 3, LaMelo to Charlotte?
Well, like I was saying earlier, I think this could go both ways. But I mean, I think I definitely see LaMelo becoming a star with Charlotte. Like you guys were saying, he could be like a Kemba Walker, really carrying his team, and maybe if Charlotte was able to build a team around him. But I could see LaMelo struggling a little bit. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I think LaMelo's gonna have a great chance to really show. Really show everybody what he can do here in the NBA. So I'm definitely excited to see what he does.
All right, not to cut you off, but just a minute ago, Woj tweeted, kind of a surprise, Bulls are targeting Patrick Williams with the number 4 pick.
Yeah.
Is this a W? Is this a L?
That is a classic Bulls L right there. That is horrible. Of course the Bulls do this. Of course they do.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not a huge
What
fan
number
of
is he on your ranking there, Jeremy?
Me, he's 28 on mine.
20?
29 in my
28
28
in
or
your
29.
ranking.
28, yeah. And I mean, I'm lower on him than most. He was going to be a
Oh
lottery
my
pick
God.
regardless. I don't know how you can justify picking him at
I'm-
4.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
see
he's
real
got
quick where he went in
some upside.
our mock. He didn't go till 12.
It was probably like
Dakota
10.
picked him at 12.
Why?
That's when he was available. Dakota, you picked him at 12 for Sacramento. And that's about probably where he'd land, anywhere from 15 to the 12 to 20 spot. But 4?
Yeah, I
It
mean,
is okay. As a Bulls fan, this is a classic Bulls move. I don't like it. You know,
Wow.
you had so many other talent out there, and you just wasted your 4th pick on a middle of the draft talent. I'm sorry, that's just horrible.
Wow. All right, so Patrick Williams, man. Going to the Bulls.
I just want to say, why did Patrick Williams go this early?
yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he was sixth.
That
He
is-
was the 6th man of the year. They
Now-
just said he averaged
Yeah.
22 and a half minutes. He only got 9 points per game in those minutes. And
Oh,
one
that's
thing
a
I
head
did see
scratcher.
is
That's
almost
that's
two, almost 2 turnovers per game too. That's the reason they say he has upside as a playmaker. He had 2 turnovers a game coming off the bench, not as a guard. Not easy to do. So I don't know. I don't really like the pick.
I'm kind of shook, to be honest. This is why I love draft night, man. I love it when teams are stupid so we can talk about it. And the content.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you
him
this
rolling
right
out
now.
is
My
great.
my brother's a big Bulls fan. He's screaming in the other room, so mad right now. With
Oh, I think we heard him. I'm
this
pretty
pick.
sure I heard him.
I can hear him in the background.
Yeah, we heard.
I know, right? My bad, but I'm just saying this is
So
just
what are
a
you
horrible,
doing?
horrible pick. I just don't know. Gosh, you know, like I like Denny. Okay, why didn't we just go after Denny? That was the man everybody's been talking about for months, and you go and get this middle of the draft guy. I don't know.
Like what
This
is,
reminds me a lot.
what does Patrick
You
do
wanna go?
that fits with the team that the Bulls have set up? You would think that they would go for a shooter. I think that
Right.
Denny would pretty much have been their version of Kukoc. He would have been the next Kukoc. You know, maybe he's a ball handler. He can shoot the 3, can probably hit some clutch shots. That's what I was thinking. What was going to happen was they were going to have their next Kukoc. But yeah, go ahead, Jeremy. What does he do that Denny doesn't, that made him so attractive to be a top 5 pick?
I don't really have an answer for that, but this pick reminds me a lot of Justice Winslow at 10 to the Miami Heat. I just remember when people were saying Justice Winslow was the steal of the draft, and people were saying that Patrick Williams was going to be the steal if he was picked around 10. But I just think Justice Winslow turned out to nothing, and I think that they just play so similar in that they were one of the best players on their team for their lone college season, but they weren't like the guy who did the scoring. They were just semi-key contributors to their team, and I just don't see how he's gonna turn that up into becoming a key contributor at the next level. I mean, if you're picked 4th, you can't be just like a semi-contributor, and that's all I see Williams being.
Well, this is what I'm gonna say. I can see the Bulls being another lottery team next year. With that pick.
They probably will be.
most likely.
Most likely.
Yeah.
An interesting start to the new era in Chicago. They get the new general manager who was part of designing, part of the architect of that Denver Nuggets team that did a great job drafting later on in the draft, and you know, had some players fall to them like Michael Porter Jr. And taking chances on them and them seeming to pay off. But I don't know, maybe it doesn't look like on the surface that he's carrying that magic over to the Bulls, but who knows? Maybe they know something we don't, and maybe he turns out all right, and if not, then like Braden said, they'll be picking number 4 next year. They finally broke the streak of picking at the 7 spot. Finally get a few picks higher, and they shocked the world.
You did mention. I mean, he did. We did get new GM. He did a great job when over at Denver. I mean, maybe there's something about this pick that maybe nobody really knows about, or maybe it's just he knows something that we don't. But I don't know. I have no idea.
All right.
It's gonna be interesting.
All right, we just got breaking news for our next pick. The number 5 pick is my dude, Isaac Okoro, out of Auburn, going number 5 to Cleveland.
Okay.
I'll start first. I'm a huge Okoro lover and believer. I think this dude is Marcus Smart 2.0. I think that once he gets that 3-point shot ready, is NBA ready. I think he's gonna take off, and like Marcus Smart, he may never make an All-Star game, but he's gonna be a dude that's gonna be highly coveted by many teams in the NBA, and he's gonna get paid not because he's an All-Star, but because he brings energy, he brings tenacity, and he's just a dog out there, man, and that's why I love him so much. I appreciate players like that. The Tony Allens, the Marcus Smarts of the world, those are my guys. Those are guys that I love to watch play. Not flashy, although Allen and Okoro, they both got hops. Allen back in the day, when especially during the championship run with Boston, that dude could get up. It was nasty if you got in his way. And same thing with Okoro too. He's not afraid, and he's fully capable of catching the body. But all right, I'll open it up to the rest of you guys. Anthony, we'll start with you, man. What you think about this pick? What do you think about Okoro fitting in with the Cavs?
Yeah, honestly, I like this pick. I like Okoro here. The Cavs, they haven't been so great since the departure of LeBron and Kyrie, but slowly but surely they're building it back up. Like, I really like the pieces they got right now with Okoro, Colin Sexton. Granted, Andre Drummond, I don't really like him, but he could, forget about that. But other than that, I like what they're doing here. Honestly, I like this pick. It's about 100 times better than Chicago's pick. Sorry, Brandon, but this is. I like this pick. I think Okoro is going to be a really nice player for them, and I think he's got a chance to, prove his worth this year, in the league right away. So I like it. I'm liking what Cleveland's doing.
All right, Carl, what you think of this pick?
Yeah, so quick plug. I'm updating on the site with every pick, the just some first round grades. Patrick Williams got an F. Sorry, Bulls fans. But I'm giving Cleveland an A with this one. I like the fit. He's probably the best defender in the class. He has got definitely the offensive upside. Like, he's already a really good slasher, and I think once he gets his outside shot going, he'll be a really special player. After taking Sexton and Garland in the last 2 drafts, I like going with a wing for Cleveland. I think that was a really smart move for them. So overall, definitely a good pick. I know Okoro was one of the guys Trey wanted for the Celtics at 14, and I didn't have the heart to say that there was no way he was falling to 14. So I mean, I think this is a great pick for Cleveland.
Dakota?
Yeah, I just want to say that I love this pick right here for the Cavs, because they haven't been good since the departure of LeBron James. They've needed a forward ever since then, I think, and it's showed the last 2 years because Darius Garland and their other guy, Colin Sexton, have not been the right guys for them. They haven't been able to lead them to the playoffs. So I think I love this pick right here with Isaac Okoro. And honestly, I think he's going to be the biggest boom of the draft.
I love it.
It's a very good pick for them, and he has a lot of potential that he can help lead a team to the playoffs.
All right. Jeremy, go ahead. The next pick has already been spoiled, but we'll talk about that here in a second.
Just on that. I like the fit more for Okoro just because he's not the best scorer, and with Cleveland, they got young guards. They still have Kevin Love, so they still have Drummond too. So he doesn't have to be a scorer yet. He can take that time to develop and still be a defensive stopper, still be a good athlete on the court, be good in transition, but he doesn't have to do too much with the ball in his hands. So that's why I like that.
Okay. Real quickly, Shams has to chill, okay? We're on the Atlanta pick right now. He's got this pick and the Detroit pick already out there. So Shams needs to just
really
that dude needs to calm down. Yeah. Okay, so we'll
that guy just like to spoil it for everybody, just so you know.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next pick.
Okay, so we'll go Atlanta.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so Atlanta is
let's go.
taking Onyeka Okongwu.
I like this one. This one matches up. This is the first one for my the second one for my big board that matched up. I have a Congo at 6, and I had Wiseman at 2, who went 2. So that's cool. But I like the fit. I think they're gonna get rid. The Hawks are gonna get rid of Capella, obviously in the near future.
Yeah,
it's for the better.
Just to get someone in there, fresh legs, who can run the pick and roll with Trae Young, who's a good inside presence. And he could develop into a stretch big as well. So I like the pick.
Okay. Braden, what you think of the pick, man? Kongu at 2 the Hawks.
I think it's a good move. For sure. It's just like what Jeremy says. I think any pick then cannot get any worse than what the Bulls did. So, but I really do like this pick though for the Hawks. Like you said, they're gonna lose Capella probably in the future. He's a really good defender. He's a good guy. He's a good pick. And then yeah, so not too bad.
Let's go with Dakota. Dakota, what do you think of this, man? Good pick, good fit. They've been going shooters. Now they're getting a big.
Yeah, I honestly love it. Like I think it was Jeremy that said it. They're probably going to go away from Capella in the near future, just because he doesn't fit the age that the Atlanta Hawks seem to be going with. But this guy really does, and I love the pick for them because it's going to help them get younger, just going forward with Trae Young leading the team.
All right, Anthony, let's go to you, my guy.
Tell you what, I actually like this pick. I really like this kid from USC. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to try to pronounce his name right now. I need some practice with that. But honestly, I've seen some of it. I've seen some of his games for USC. I thought he was a really good athletic big man. And I love the big men. I love rim protectors. I love seeing that style, and he does that also with a little bit of a stretch, like a stretch 5. He's got the potential to be able to shoot from out there, and you can always develop your jump shot unless your name is Ben Simmons, but otherwise you can always develop a jump shot in the NBA. So as long as he shows the ability to make that, I think this is a great pick, and I think that he's going to turn out into a pretty good big in this league.
All right, Carl, let's round it out with you.
Yeah, I think this is really good pick for the Hawks. Okongwu might be my favorite player in the entire class just because of the skill set he provides. I think it's really unique. He averaged almost a double-double at USC, along with just under 3 blocks a game. And the guy's 6'9". And if you're getting 3 blocks a game at 6'9", you're just a freak athlete who also plays hard, has really good instincts. Also played at Chino Hills with LaMelo, so that's kind of a fun connection there. But yeah, I think with all the shooters they already have, getting a cheaper big guy would be good if they can move off Capella, and I think he's going to develop into something really nice.
All All right. So real quickly before we go any further, I will do another quick ad read from our second sponsor. This is not the first. This is not the last time you'll be hearing from our sponsors tonight. Thank you so much to our two sponsors. The first one, XP Coffee Company, and then the second one is Forever Grips. Forever Grips has all the gaming accessories that you need. From grips and covers for your controllers, including the next generation of consoles, so not just the PS4 and the Xbox One consoles, but also the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles. Mouse pads for PC gamers, headphones. They have the blue light glasses if you're someone that struggles, if you play a lot of video games or you do a lot of reading or watching things at night up close to your face and you have trouble sleeping at night. Those are supposed to help you. And a multitude of other accessories. And not only that, but they come at a great price. No one beats the quality and affordability of Forever Grips. Forever Grips. Follow the link down in the description to forevergrips.com, forevergripsgaming.com, and use our code VSM15. That is VSM15, and receive 15% off your order. Again, thank you Forever Grips for partnering with us and sponsoring us. All right, so looks like Detroit is on the clock now, and of course, Shams already has spoiled it, but we can go ahead and hop into it. The favoritist draft pick player of the night, where he's super high on everyone's board, Killian Hayes at number 7 to the Detroit Pistons. Carl, we will start with you, because we've already said a lot about Hayes tonight, but of course we're going to have to talk about him a little bit more. We don't have to spend too much time on him. Everybody knows, I think everyone out there knows how we feel, or most of us feel about him. So just real quickly, we'll start with Carl. Go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, as much as I'm not really a fan of Killian Hayes, I don't think he should have been drafted this high at all. I guess if you're really trying to revamp things in Detroit, you go with a guy who could maybe develop into something. I don't see it. I would have gone with Tyrese Halliburton probably if they were looking for more of a sure thing type of ball handler. So, I mean, we kind of knew this was coming, that he was going to be drafted probably somewhere in the top 10. So kind of just like a disappointed, not surprised type of thing.
Jeremy, we'll go with you next too, since he was your big bust player.
Yeah, I mean, it worked so well for them last year, drafting Sioku Doumbouya. That's sarcasm. I mean, I just don't like the pick with Killian Hayes. I don't think he's a top 7 guy. I do not think he should be up there. I mean, their guard play is not great. I mean, Derrick Rose is going to move on at some point. I mean, they're going to rebuild. Mm-hmm. Griffin will be gone at some point as well. But, I mean, after them, that roster is basically talentless, I would say. So it's going to be really tough for Hayes to bump up his assist numbers when there's not a lot of scorers.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have a tough time.
And you can tell what what other teams around the league think about the Pistons and their roster, because whenever the Pistons come to Memphis, that's the game that my wife and I usually get to sit the closest to the court, because that's when they are the cheapest.
That's funny.
It always works out. It was like 2 years ago, we got like 2 rows out back behind the bench, and then the last time that they played them, we got behind the basket, maybe 5 or 6 rows up. So keep it up, Detroit, because that's the closest I ever get to sitting to the court, and I greatly appreciate it, and as does my wallet and my wife, and my son will eventually too.
Oh my god.
All right. I mean, we've spent a lot of time on Killian tonight. Dakota, Anthony, Braden, you guys got anything to add?
Yep.
They're going to be the Bulls in regards to where they're going to be in the draft grades. I just think the Bulls gonna be, or not Bulls. The Pistons gonna be another one of those lottery picks next year. The Pistons aren't gonna do anything, so I'm not a big fan of this move.
Dakota?
Yeah.
Or no,
Dakota.
Anthony, go ahead. Go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry. Dakota, we'll get to you next. I'm sorry, dude.
That's all good. It's all good. Yeah, no, honestly, Killian Hayes, I don't see it at all in him. Like, even just with like the eye test, like, I just watch him play and I'm just like, I really don't see I really don't get why teams thought he was a top 10 pick. But I mean, look, this is the Pistons. This is the Detroit Pistons for the last decade. So I mean, did we really expect them to, not take someone like this? I think they could have went in a number of other directions, which would have been more beneficial to them. But I mean, listen, I guess we'll see. I'll give him the benefit of a doubt, but I don't like it. I don't like Hayes at number 7 at all.
Yeah. Dakota, what you think, man? We'll end it with you, and then we'll get to the next pick.
I do not like the pick for Detroit. I think Killian Hayes is not what they are looking for. Just in terms of who they have on the roster now, I don't think Killian Hayes is who they should have taken. I think they needed a guard to replace Derrick Rose in this position, but like I said, Killian Hayes, no.
All right, sorry, just sending a tweet to someone. But so it looks like the next pick, again, a couple minutes, like I know I'm behind. I think I'm maybe 30 seconds closer to maybe 45 seconds behind on my stream that I got going on right now. But Woj just tweeted out that it looks like the number 8 pick is going to be Obi Toppin to the New York Knicks. It's a team that I think needs a guard, but they're going with a athletic big, Aaron Gordon 2.0 here. Dakota, we'll start with you. What do you think of Obi Toppin going to the Knicks?
I love it. I think they can pair him with Mitchell Robinson at the 4. And this one, I think they'll need a guard that they can pick up in free agency. Maybe Russell Westbrook. They could trade for him. But I honestly love this Obi Toppin for the New York Knicks because it gives them a little bit of size at the 4 position.
Jeremy?
Yeah, this is something you don't say often, but I actually like the pick for New York. I think that Toppin's a guy who is going to put people in seats, when spectators can go to games again. He's a guy that's going to get a lot of media attention, and you never know. I mean, if Zion landed there, or if they landed the number 1 pick and took Zion, that Kyrie and Durant were probably going there. So, I mean, if Toppin performs well in his rookie year, you never know how many free agents are going to want to go to New York.
Anybody else? Let's go to Carl. Carl, what do you think, man?
Yeah, this is a weird one for me. I don't really know how to feel about it because I agree that I think the Knicks would have been a lot better off picking somebody who could handle the ball a little bit. I mean, they have Dennis Smith and Frank Ntilikina, and it's just like the guard depth in New York is horrendous. They need somebody who can distribute. Again, I probably would have taken Tyrese here, knowing that he's available. But I mean, Obi Toppin he was an electrifying type of player at Dayton. It's just sort of questionable how this works with. I think they already have Julius Randle and they have Kevin Knox, who's also not great, but I don't know. I just think they probably would have been better off with a guard. But I can't really hate on the pick since Toppin he was Naismith Player of the Year, so.
Yeah. Anthony, you go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to grab something to drink out of my fridge right next to me real quick because my throat is getting pretty dry.
You're good. Yeah, since I live in New York, I've born and raised here for 23 years. All I hear about is the Knicks. I'm not even a Knicks fan. I'm a Laker fan. But all I hear about is the Knicks. I tell you right now, any Knicks fans watching this is probably one of the best picks you've made since Kristaps Porzingis. Now, granted, he left. Now, let's hope you can keep Obi Toppin. But I like Obi Toppin. I think this was as low risk from the standpoint of where you were in the draft that you could get picking Obi Toppin here. So for the Knicks, I like this pick. I think this is a step in the right direction. It's good to get a athletic small forward in there for you guys. Like Carl said and before about them having horrendous guard play. The Knicks it's been terrible here for quite a while basketball wise. So it's nice to see. It's just nice to see somebody that I think is going to be a really good player. And I'm telling you what, Knicks fans, this is a step in the right direction. All right, this is the first good pick you've made in a really long time. So,
yeah. Braden, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I think this guy's really like one and under the radar guys that's just gonna come out of nowhere. I think explode on the scene. I was really hoping that the Bulls secretly would pick him. Of course, that didn't happen, but I think this is a good move for the Knicks. Like everybody's saying, this is the best move they could have made. So this was good. I'm kind of excited to see what the Knicks do in the next few years.
Alrighty. Good. Sorry, I'm just writing something down, marking something. All right. So, again, we already have the next player that is going to be drafted. If you are on Twitter, first off, if you're watching this and you're on Twitter, follow us on Twitter at media_vendetta. Give us a follow. That way you could stay up to date on everything that is going on in the sporting world, things that we cover on the site. Link down in the description to our website. You should totally go give us a read. Check it out. All of us write, and we cover not just the NBA. Some of us cover other sports as well, like the MLB, NCAA, football, basketball, or just all kinds of other sports. We've even got some soccer and some UFC and some video gaming content on there. So definitely check out the link in the description and then go follow us on Twitter. All right, so it looks like the next pick in the draft is someone that we thought was going to go higher. We thought was going to go to Braden's Bulls, but we'll be going to the Washington Wizards, and that is Denny, the sharpshooter from Israel, according to Woj and Shams here at the number 9 spot. Anthony, let's start with you, my guy. What do you think about Denny going to Washington? They've already got good shooter and Bradley Beal. John Wall's coming back off an injury. Even with the rumors about Westbrook going there, we're just going to assume that Wall is going to stay there. They're going to try to run it back. They got Ryu Hachimura. That was their big pick last year, I believe. What do you think of this?
To be quite honest, I think Washington has done some pretty good things roster-wise. I tell you, the best roster move would be to keep Russell Westbrook as far away from that team as possible. But I like them getting Denny here. I think he could be a really, really nice player in the league. We've seen these international players recently come into the league a little bit unknown and just light it up. Don't know if Denny's going to be quite like the Kristaps Luka type guy. Probably not. But at the same time, I do think that he'll fit really nicely with Washington. Like, I like Bradley Beal. John Wall will be coming back off his injury. I like Hachimura. I really like how this team is being built right now, to be quite honest. And I think the Wizards are going to be a playoff team this year now.
Oh, that's a big nuts on the table statement right there. Then again, it's the East, right. So I mean, you're not really slapping the table. You're not slapping the table too hard with that statement.
They missed the playoffs by like 5 games, and they were like 15 games under 500.
Yeah, it was bad. But Carl, let's go to you, man. What do you think? Denny, potential lineup with Wall, Beal, Hachimura at the 4, Denny probably sliding in there at the 3 spot. How do you think that's going to work out?
Yeah, there were two guys who earlier today I was watching film on. The first of them being Killian Hayes, and the second was Denny. And I was actually really impressed with Denny. I think he's got really good instincts. I think he's a good passer. The one thing that worries me is people have been kind of saying or suggesting at least that he's a knockdown shooter, but he only shoots like 50% from the free throw line, which like most knockdown shooters you see are shooting like upper 80s, like lower 90% from the free throw line. So it makes me question a little bit whether he just got a little streaky and started hitting some shots, and maybe he's actually not that great of a shooter. But I think it'll help the team culture, I think, in Washington, which has been kind of non-existent for a while now. And I agree with Anthony that I like the way that they're building things over there. I think this was a good pick.
All right. Everyone's kind of dipped out there for a second. Everybody still there?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're here.
Okay.
You good over there, Jackson?
Yeah, the video's just kind of dipped a little bit. One
I'm
second.
here.
Oh, you guys are good.
Yeah, we're good.
Dakota, let's go to you. Denny, Washington. How do you feel about it?
I like it. If they keep Bradley Beal, this is gonna be a nice. He's gonna be a nice player. Denny will be a nice player for them at the 3 position. If they don't keep Bradley Beal, he'll be a nice player for them to replace Bradley Beal at the 2 position. So either way, it's a win-win situation for the Washington Wizards.
What you think, Jeremy? Good pick here.
Yeah, I had Avdia as my number 3 ranked prospect, so I think it's a really good pick for Washington. And I think, Washington's definitely in a position to make the playoffs next season, depending on if they keep both Wall and Beal. Rui Hachimura had a great season, so I think he's going to be well involved in the mix. Avdia might not start right away, but I think he can definitely contribute right away, especially off the bench. He's primarily a score first guy, so he could lead that second unit in scoring maybe. And I think the Wizards could be an interesting team next season to shake things up in the East.
Braden, just real quickly, and then we can move on.
Yeah, I'll make this pretty quick. I actually do think, it's going to be interesting with Washington, and Washington's definitely made a big improvement with this move. I think this is huge. I can also see Washington maybe trying to pull off some trades with Bradley Beal. I know we've been talking about potential rumors to Golden State, but I don't know. Let's just keep an eye on Washington and see what they do the next few weeks.
Yeah, I don't think a decision will be made on Beal now that their pick is in and they get a guy that they like. I think they hang on to Beal. Beal has even expressed that he doesn't want to leave, at least not yet. He's still got some time left in his career, so give it some time. And if they're back at the lower spots in the playoffs, then I'm sure he'll probably leave.
Especially that Bulls did not pick this guy, so whatever.
All right. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't look like anybody has spoiled the next pick, so that's pretty nice. We can get into some.
Yeah, no.
We can get into some
I'm
other
refreshing
talk.
Will just for like 30 seconds.
Well, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to another question. And so we're at the top of the draft right now. 9? We're on number 10 now at the Suns. But who is a late? We'll start with who we get to. We'll start with Carl on this one. Carl, we'll start with you. Who is somebody that is probably a late first round pick or even an early second round pick that you think could contribute now to a team?
I would say I think I like Daniel Oturu out of Minnesota as like a good late first, early second type of guy. I think he's a really good rebounder and a really good defender. I think he just finished his sophomore season at Minnesota, and he averaged like 20 points, 10 rebounds, and like 3 blocks. And I think for teams, he can also shoot like a little bit, and I think once that part of his game comes along, he'll be probably a better fit for most teams who are looking for sort of a stretch 5. But just in terms of like rim protection and defensive IQ, I think he'd be a solid pick looking for a team looking for somebody with those kind of traits maybe later, because that's sort of the range where we'll see people take some guys who might not be super important to the way that their team is going to be playing, but might be able to help them off the bench or something. So
Okay. Dakota, let's go to you. Well, hold on a sec. Looks like the pick may be coming in. So we will hold on. I'm sitting out a tweet anyway.
Who is it? Woj said they're taking
Jalen Smith. Wow.
At number 10.
that's huge.
It's good for me. I got a bet. I bet the Big Ten in the first round. The line was 1.5. I took the over, so.
All right. Well, congratulations,
That's
Jeremy.
nice.
You get
Good.
a nice little payday.
We're halfway there.
Halfway there. Okay. Halfway there.
I think Xavier Tillman's gonna go in the first round, though. I was pretty confident when I took it.
Okay. Well.
That's an interesting pick for Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, go ahead since you're the one talking about it right now. Go ahead and keep running with it.
Yeah, I like Jalen Smith. I don't know if I necessarily take him at 10. I have him at 15. I think he's a solid stretch 4. I think he was out of position. He had talked about it a little. They made him play the 5 this year when Bruno Fernando left. I don't think he's I guess skilled enough, defending a big to play the 5. I don't know if he's going to be able to guard someone like Joel Embiid at the next level. But I think he's a guy who could do a lot of things. He's not perfect in anything. He can improve in every aspect, but he's a guy who can score around the paint. He can shoot a little bit, and he can defend too. It's an interesting pick. It might be a little early. But.
Yeah, I don't think anybody had expected him to go top 10. That's interesting.
Yeah.
To say the least. We'll continue. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I wanted Kira Lewis for Phoenix. I've been saying that for months. Even with Chris Paul, I still think Lewis would be a good fit there as a backup. But
especially if you're thinking long term, get a decent point guard in there. Because if they're as good as people think they are going to be, which is going to be tough in the West, then you're not going to have an opportunity to draft this high again, especially after moving some of your future draft capital to get Chris Paul. Even though it wasn't too much, I think it was just like 1 first-round pick, but still. And Chris Paul, I mean, he's 35 years old, and he's technically got 2 years left. He's got this year, and then he's got a $44 million player option for next season, which he'll be 36 years old, $44 million. That's, yeesh. I wish I made that much money. At 30. I wish maybe one of these days I'll be making that much money when I'm 35, 36. That's the dream, right? But yeah, I agree. I think that they probably should have gone point guard here, even with the trade. I was preaching that they needed to take one before the draft, before the trade. And now, even with this pick, I still would have liked the idea for them to take that. Let's go to Braden. What do you think of this pick?
I don't really know too. I don't really know too much about these Suns too much. I mean, paying too much attention to them, but I'm just kind of confused what they're doing. They go after Chris Paul. They trade away all these picks, and then they go and pick Jalen Smith. I don't even know what direction they're heading to, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this.
It's interesting to say the least. Anthony, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I feel like Jalen Smith could be he's like a good project to work on, because I feel like that, like Jeremy said, there's a lot to his game that he can perfect. So to be honest, I feel like he's a good project. Granted, you still have DeAndre Ayton there. You're waiting for him to kind of figure things out, but I don't know. I feel like Jalen Smith might be a good player for them at some point. Don't think it's going to be right away. Maybe in a year or 2 years he might start developing into a nice player, but it could be a nice little project for them. I don't mind the pick. I don't think it was that great though, so I'm kind of on it.
All right, so we had someone else join the chat here real quickly. He had signed up beforehand, but he was gonna be a little late, and that was fine. But we got Lamar here. Lamar, you there, man?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
What's good, man?
Oh, what's up?
Do you have a camera or anything? You want to join in? We're all here. We're streaming live on YouTube right now. There you are. Lamar, what have you thought of the draft so far? We've got 10 picks in. Just real quickly, give me one that you really like and one that you were like, I don't know about that, or one that you hated. Or have you had a chance to really look at the draft yet?
Yeah, I looked at it. One I didn't really agree with was can't pronounce his name going to the Wizards.
Denny.
I like him as a player, but I just don't feel that he fits there unless he improve on his shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because Wall and Bill gonna have the ball in their hands a lot, and he's gonna have to be able to knock down some shots, unless they plan on moving Wall. But
okay.
Then another one was strange was Toppin to the Knicks. The Knicks need a guard. I don't know why they drafted more forwards and big players.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so we've got Lamar here now. I think this is the full crew. Of course, when the Celtics pick at 14, unless there's a major jump, there's a trade at any point, which trades have been fairly quiet right now. I mean,
That was a bit of a surprise to me. I thought I'd see more moving here.
Yeah, really the only move.
I was going to say something.
Oh,
I'm really surprised, Lamar, you didn't say anything about the Bulls.
I've been reading all day that Patrick Williams was moving up the people's draft board, so figured he would be there, but who knows? All these scouts all these teams have their own way of thinking. It's crazy.
Yeah, it looks like the pick will be coming in soon. Again, it's less than 30 seconds on my stream, but that stream does run a few seconds. So like when I'm watching games and stuff, I got to be careful about what goes on here. But it's the Spurs on the clock right now. We'll wait and see what happens there. I'm trying to refresh Woj's page on Twitter real quick. Also, interesting to see how fellow Vendetta writer Alex reacts. And it looks like Woj, the pick is in. They're going to take Devin Vassell at number 11. The San Antonio Spurs. Not a terrible pick. Not a bad pick. 3-and-D guy. That's what I thought they were going to take. That's who they took. So we'll start with let's start with you, Dakota. What do you think about Devin Vassell moving in the lineup with the Spurs? His development, of course. Spurs, one of the greatest franchises that's in the league. They have a long history of success, but they're also coming into uncharted territory, someplace they hadn't been since the 90s, like mid to late 90s, when rebuilding this team.
Yeah, I think this is a good move for the Spurs going forward into a rebuild. Devin Vassell will give them a good all-around player, but they probably could have gone point guard here. I don't know what Devin Vassell's position really is, but they probably could have gone point guard here and started to build that way. Because I feel like a point guard is the one position in the NBA now that you want to build around.
All right, Jeremy, you next. Vassell to the Spurs. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I like that pick. In terms of the value, I have Vassell at 11 on my board, and he's going 11 here. Like it says on the screen, he's a versatile two-way player. That's pretty much how I would describe him. Mm-hmm. He's one of the best defenders in the class. I wouldn't say he's a great ball handler, but I don't necessarily think they need him be a great ball handler. He's going to be a good role player for them. Pop knows how to get those guys. I like the pick.
Braden, you next, man. What do you think? You know much about Vassell? What do you think about him going to the Spurs? 3-and-D guy.
I think it's a good move for the Spurs. They definitely could use another shooter. They are, like you're saying, definitely in a different territory they haven't been in before, in terms of rebuilding. But I think they are rebuilding pretty quick. I could see Spurs back into obviously in the playoff picture pretty quickly. I don't know. I think it's a good pick. They made a good move.
Anthony?
Yeah, I like this pick. This is kind of right around where I expected Vessel to go. I was thinking like somewhere from like here to like 14, 15. So it was right around where he should have went. But yeah, he's a good two-way player. He's going to a great organization in the Spurs, playing for Greg Popovich. So I mean, it's a great place for him to go and develop his game. I think he'll be a nice piece over in San Antonio. I think it's a good start to the rebuilding process for them.
Carl, what do you think?
Yeah, I probably wasn't as high on Vassell as probably Jeremy was, but that's probably just because I probably didn't watch him or study him enough to really form a solid opinion. I just think this pick makes the Bulls pick even funnier because Vassell's definitely the best player from Florida State in the draft, and he got drafted 7 picks after Patrick Williams. So that's kind of my take on it. Is it kind of just makes the Bulls look worse.
Lamar, what are your thoughts? Spurs picking
like the pick.
Vassell at 11.
I like the pick. A two-way versatile player. Go to a good team that got a nice system. Probably should get a lot of corner 3 opportunities the way the Spurs play.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick here too. Like I said, I had them in my mind, and in the one mock that I did way back in the day, I still thought of them had taken a 3-and-D guy, and that's exactly what they did here. And it looks like the next pick is in. I saw it. It is Tyrese Halliburton.
Halliburton
To the Kings. Good point guard. I thought, he'd go a little bit earlier. So, but let's hear everyone's thoughts. Let's start with Anthony on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, you were pretty big on Halliburton, so correct? You said that earlier, right? Are you big on Halliburton? What do you think? What do you think of Halliburton here? Let's just stick with this question.
Halliburton. I think it was Carl that was big on him, but
okay. Well, Carl, you're next. We'll start with Anthony, anyways. Anthony, Halliburton to the.
I'll go. So, you know what? I like it. I really don't know why he fell this far. To be quite honest with you, I thought he was at least a better player than what the Bulls took. I mean, we keep harping on the Bulls all day, but to be quite honest with you, I really didn't think that he should have been taken this far back. Still, good for the Kings that he fell this far back. The Kings, they need a good point guard, and I think Halliburton could really turn into that for them. And this good. It could be a good start for things going in Sacramento. So we'll see.
Here's the thing: did they just spin this pick on a backup, on a guy that's solely going to be a backup? Because they've still got De'Aaron Fox, and Buddy Hield should be starting. It is ridiculous that he is sitting on the bench, unless they think that Tyrese will be the 2 guard.
Or maybe they're trying to move one of them.
I feel like they've been trying to move Hield for a while.
Yeah.
It's the Kings, so they do stupid stuff. They just do stupid stuff every year.
Yeah. Okay, so Carl, you're high on Halliburton. What do you think about him and his fit with the Kings?
Well, yeah, so I was high on him for the teams that needed a point guard because he's a known quantity. I feel one of probably the most known quantities in the draft as far as like you know what you're going to get with him. He's a good playmaker. He's a good ball handler. He's above average at a lot of things, not like awesome at really any one thing. To the Kings, I agree the fit is probably a little bit questionable, but that's just kind of how they roll in Sacramento. They make picks like figured out later, which is why they usually miss the playoffs. So yeah, that's like good value pick at 12, since most people probably expected him to go a little higher than that. But just based on fit, I don't really see it. See why, like the logic behind the pick. But that's the Kings, so there you go.
All right, Lamar, you just said that it's the Kings, so the Kings make stupid decisions. So you think it's a stupid decision to take Halliburton here at 12 when they got Fox and Heald still on their team?
They've been ranting and raving about how Fox is. Well, I'm in the Sacramento area, so I hear local radio all the time. They big on De'Aaron Fox, so why don't you take another point guard? But it's the Kings, so it's kind of expected. New general manager, same shit.
All right, Dakota, what do you
Question
think?
here. Is their general manager worse than the Bulls?
And the Bulls are the punching bag tonight.
Yeah, they're gonna
yeah.
continue to be.
Yeah, but Dakota, go ahead. Let's hear your thoughts on this pick, man.
Halliburton, I'm not quite sure how he's going to fit into their system when they have De'Aaron Fox at the point. I mean, they could slide him into the 2, but they also have Buddy Hield there. However, earlier in the offseason, there was the rumor that Buddy Hield and Luke Walton don't get along. So they could slide either De'Aaron Fox down to the 2 or put this guy at the Halliburton at the 2. So either way, it could work out, but it could not. There's always the chance either way.
Okay, Jeremy?
I actually like the pick. Halliburton's 5 on my board. I think, he was probably the number 1 player available on their board in this pick. And I mean, sometimes if you can get the number 1 available, especially that they're thinking about moving Hield, moving some pieces, they might not have a true identity yet. So, Halliburton can be the start of them forming another identity, a backcourt with him and Fox. I don't know if they can play at the same time, but I mean, Halliburton is taller, so he can play the 2. I think he'd have to become a better shooter to play the 2. But I like the pick in terms of, value there. I mean, he's the best player on the board, so.
All right, Braden, we'll hear your thoughts real quickly. Woj, again, telling us who is more than likely, using language that doesn't say they're going to take him, but they're probably going to take him, unless they're taking someone, who's they've got a trade in mind. So go ahead, Halliburton to Sacramento.
So I just think that you want to get the best player available, you go after it. You maybe try to move another player at a later time. So this may be a good move for Sacramento, but who knows? Nobody, Sacramento hasn't been that great in the last how many years, so we'll see. We'll see on that one.
All right, so it looks like with the number 13 pick, the New Orleans Pelicans, who were just a part of a big trade a few days ago, they will be selecting Kira Lewis out of Alabama with the 13th pick here. What do we think about that? Let's start with Lamar. What do you think about Lewis going right here to New Orleans? I can't hear you, Lamar. Are you muted or anything?
I think you're muted.
Yeah, my bad. I was muted. I got
No, you're good, bro. No, you're good, bro.
Around here. Yeah, I think it's a good pick. They got another guard, and I don't think they too sold on Lonzo Ball, so I think it was a good pick.
Okay, Dakota.
I think it's a good pick. Either way, if they keep Lonzo Ball or if they don't, because Kira Lewis can come in behind Lonzo. The New Orleans Pelicans don't really have a backup point guard. So I think Lewis can either come behind Lonzo, or if the Pelicans trade Lonzo to any team, because I've heard rumors about Lonzo wanting to go play with his brother. But either way, I think this is a good pick for New Orleans.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm a big Kira Lewis guy. I had him at 7 on my board. I mean, what we talked about with Lonzo Ball being the point guard there and how he might not be the best for the future. I would say, again, similar with the Kings, Kira Lewis is probably 1 or 2 on their board once they got to 13. So I think it's hard to pass up that when you can get that value at that spot. He's great in transition, so he'll work very well with Zion and even Jackson Hayes plays center. They're big transition guys. And Kira Lewis is great with the ball in transition. If he can limit turnovers and learn to control his speed a little at times, I think that's the one knock I had on him was he could sometimes be a little too aggressive. I think the game against Tyrese Halliburton at Iowa State, Halliburton really handled him. So I think that's an aspect that Lewis can improve. But again, he doesn't have to do it right away. He can sit behind Lonzo for a little bit. So I like the pick.
Braden, let's go to you. Kira Lewis, New Orleans. What you thinking?
Good move. I think they got potential to have a really good player out of this guy. You get the best player available. That's what you got to do. Especially like Jeremy has said, this guy's high on their draft board. Whatever the case may be, you go and you get him and try to fit him in, or maybe try to find potential trades in the future. If this guy develops, a year or 2 down the road. So it's a good move for New Orleans.
All right, Boston is on the clock right now, so we will probably see an appearance from Trey here soon. And I just saw.
I already know what they're taking.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll go ahead and keep moving on here. Anthony, let's hear your thoughts. Kira Lewis to the to New Orleans. Wow, totally forgot for a second.
It's okay. Yeah, I like Kira Lewis. I think it was good value for where they were in the draft for taking him. Lonzo Ball being in that starting spot, he's like, I don't know if I even really see Lonzo as a good starter moving forward. Like he's a good, he may be like a good role player on a team. Like he can defend well, but at the same time, I feel like they, wanted to go in a different direction. Maybe start out with someone a little younger who can get up and down the floor more easily. I like his game. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just think this is a pretty solid pick for them all around. I think for the value that they got it for, I like what New Orleans did here.
All right, Carl, your turn. Let's hear it.
Yeah, Kira Lewis is. I think he probably was also in contention for me for one of the more slept on players in the draft. He's not as flashy or I'll use that word. He's not as flashy as a guy like Colin Sexton was coming out of Alabama, but I definitely think he has the potential to be a much better NBA player than Colin Sexton is. Lewis has a really high motor, and I think that'll serve him well, both offensively and defensively. He's a good passer, good shooter. And like Jeremy said, sometimes he'll just kind of put his head down and just run down the court, which will lead to turnovers. But I think he can get some stuff ironed out. And I think in terms of value, I think this is a good pick for New Orleans.
All right, so again, Boston is on the clock right now. We will probably be hearing from Trey soon after that pick is handed down. But just real quickly before we get to that, because we probably, we know who it is thanks to Woj and Shams, thank God that, they're not huge Game of Thrones guys or, the Mandalorian guys, back in the day. But everyone's wondering where the trade's at. It's been relatively quiet. I don't know if, things are going on behind the scenes and there's something in agreement. It's like, hey, we'll go ahead and draft this guy. We'll continue to hammer out, this trade, the fine details, and things are just kind of, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, nudge. handshake type of agreements, nothing official. But there have been no
Maybe
trades.
some
It has been super quiet right now. The only two moves right now are when Dakota, your Trailblazers, moved the number 16 pick and Trevor Ariza to pick up Robert Covington. And then Houston moved Ariza and number 16 to Detroit. So Detroit gets a second pick tonight. So the Blazers will actually be picking for Detroit instead of Houston. And then the Knicks also nabbed the number 3 pick in a trade with the Jazz, and they sent the number 27 and number 38 pick to jump up to 23. And those have been the only 2 trades, which is really, really surprising. Now, some things may change when we get into the back end of the draft, but Dakota, go ahead.
There was the Bogdanovich sign and trade as well.
You see, that is interesting because the Bogdanovich never agreed to that, and he never agreed to sign. And I saw before the draft was starting that he is fully intending on entering restricted free agency instead of signing with the Milwaukee Bucks. So that's a little awkward for the guys in the locker room, for the guys in the Milwaukee locker room. That happened to Memphis a few years ago where we tried to trade for Kelly Oubre, and there was a misconception on which Brooks was going. Phoenix thought they were getting Dylan Brooks. And we had a guy, I think his name was Marshawn Brooks. And we were like, no, you can have Marshawn Brooks. So, but again, the Boston pick is in.
Mm-hmm. There was also the other trade, Drew Holiday going to Milwaukee as well.
Yeah. But it looks like right now, according to Woj, it looks like Boston is foregoing what everyone thought, or at least what we all thought, or most of us thought they were going to do, and taking Cole Anthony at 14. And they will be taking Aaron Nesmith, the sharpshooter out of Vanderbilt, at number 14. We will start with Jeremy here on this one. Jeremy, where does Nesmith rank on your big board, and do you think this is a good pick for Boston?
Naismith was 16th on my board. So, I mean, I guess it's good value based on how I ranked him. I'm not a huge fan of the pick. I don't necessarily think they should be targeting a forward or a small forward, I guess, when they have Tatum and Brown, who occupy basically the small forward position.
And Gordon Hayward.
Right. And, I mean, well, Brown could sometimes go to the shooting guard when Marcus Smart's out on the court, but I feel like they got a lot of forwards and wings. He's a good shooter, so I mean, if that's what they went into the draft looking for, if their goal was to get a shooter, then they got a good shooter. But I don't know. I don't really like the fit with Naismith in there, so I'd give it like a middle grade.
Okay, Braden, what do you think here?
I think same thing, pretty much what Jeremy said too. I just there's too many players in that forward position. Too crowded. They could look to move somebody, but it could be interesting to see what they do there. But Boston definitely gonna be interesting to see what Boston does and see what Trey thinks of that.
Yeah. Anthony, what do you think? You like this pick, or do you think they should have gone PG here?
I think they should have gone PG. Definitely, I think they should have gone PG. Been trying to go PG for months, or at least for the past couple of seasons. They have forwards all over the place. They got plenty of wing play. I'm sorry, but they just didn't need another forward. Now, granted, he's a sharp shooter, so I mean, I don't know if you just want him to just be a spot-up guy for you, maybe. But at the same time, this pick doesn't really make sense for me. I really think that they should have went with somebody else here. Definitely not another forward, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they do. Now, listen, Danny Ainge is, I'm not going to knock him. I guess he kind of knows what he's doing, but I don't like this one.
So we got a breaking trade here real quickly from Woj on Twitter. Minnesota is acquiring Oklahoma City's Ricky Rubio. Full circle.
No way.
Ricky Rubio, the 25th and 28th pick,
25th,
in a package that includes the number 17th pick. So Minnesota will be
What?
acquiring the number 17th pick. Ricky Rubio, he's going home, boys. He is back. He is going home. We just need Kevin Love. We just need a Minnesota
Wow,
trade.
the Minnesota reunion.
Yeah, we just need Minnesota to make a trade for Kevin Love, and there it is. All right, so we're getting Trey in here. You there, Trey?
Yo, what's going on? Actually, I gotta turn my light on. You can't even fucking see me. All right, we're
Trey.
good now. What's going on?
All right, so we've been talking about, which we just talked about, the trade that just happened between Minnesota.
Wait, what trade?
Minnesota and who was it? Oklahoma
Minnesota
City.
and Oklahoma City.
We were just saying a few
fuck.
things.
Who the hell cares? That's a snooze fest.
I know,
Put me
it
to
was just
sleep.
happening right now, so we had to talk about it. Okay, talk about the Boston pick. We were in the middle of talking about the Boston pick. A lot of us kind of think that they should have gone point guard here. They should have gone with Cole Anthony, possibly, or just a PG in general. But they went with Nesmith, sharpshooter. What are your thoughts?
I'm happy. Here's why. Last year, we sat there on draft day like, that fucking Tyler Hero got sniped right in front of us. We need a shooter desperately. We take Romeo Langford, can't play a lick, can't shoot a lick. The Celtics have shooting problems, major shooting problems. Nobody they really like. I love Jaylen Brown. He's not a sharpshooter. Outside of I love Tatum. He can hit everything. Outside of him, who's their sniper? Who's their guy deep that you say, okay, 3-pointer, we need to tie the game. This guy can hit the shot. This guy's ridiculous at shooting threes. So I'm happy. I would have loved to see Anthony get picked, but I'm not going to complain. If Danny Ainge likes this guy, and last year I really wanted Hero, so to get someone with a 3-point skill is somebody that we desperately needed.
All right, you heard it from the big C man himself.
Nobody
Trey.
disagrees, agrees.
Well, I'll tell you, I was thinking that the Celtics did need more 3-point shooting.
Anthony, you keep going ahead. I gotta take care of something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. So, I thought they did need 3-point shooting too, but at the same time, I really felt like they needed a point guard rather than another forward here. I mean, look, I don't know. Maybe Nesmith will just be like, he's going to be like a bench player that, and also like you said, in the clutch when you need a 3. I would trust I'll trust him taking that 3, being he was a 52% 3-point shooter in college. So I'll definitely take him.
It's the most valuable skill set there is. If you can't shoot, you don't even belong in the league anymore.
That's today's NBA. It's all 3-point shooting, and that's how you get judged nowadays. So
how many teams have won a title now with JaVale McGee as their center? Stop spending money on Andre Drummond. It doesn't work.
I mean, JaVale McGee wasn't our starter, but we did win with him.
Yeah, not only is Neesmith a sniper, he's going to clamp up on defense. He's a really good 3-and-D guy.
How tall is he?
He's like a
He's like
3-and-D
6'7", 6'6".
Yeah, well, sign me out. I'm
Yeah, I'll take this guy all day. Here's the thing. The Celtics rotation was going to be crowded. It didn't matter who we took here. So it's good that we took a shooter who plays defense, who plays hard, rather than, some guy like Langford or Carson Edwards who you think can shoot but can't and doesn't play defense. So I like the fit. I think no matter who we took, there wasn't really going to be room for them, but we need to make room for this guy.
All right, I'll be back.
All right,
Whatever the
Trey,
Celtics
thanks for
do something
stopping
else. Yep, later.
Okay, I know
I
we
actually
probably
want them to do something stupid so bad.
So
We're a little
I know
behind.
we may have missed a few people.
Orlando.
We're kind of behind a little bit, so sorry if you didn't get to talk about that pick. But we need to move on because Cole Anthony, who a lot of people I thought was going to go at 14, he went to 15 to the Magic. I think it's a pretty good pick. Dakota, what do you think? Cole Anthony, to the Magic?
I think this pick is perfect. Yeah, Orlando has needed to go out and get a shooter like Cole Anthony, especially with Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon is a very athletic power forward, and Orlando has never been able to find a shooter to go alongside him. So I think Cole Anthony will be that perfect shooter to play alongside.
Lamar, it's
Gordon.
been a while since we heard from you. What do you think about Cole Anthony going to Orlando here?
Yeah, I like the pick for Orlando. They really needed a guard that can shoot, bring the ball up the court. Still, I think it's overall a good pick. I thought he would go to the Knicks or somewhere like that, but go to a little bit better team. So that plays a role too. Sometimes if you slip in the draft, you go to a better team instead of a team that's going to be sorry every year.
Ooh. I just saw the pick that's coming up here in a minute.
Yeah, I just saw that too. I reacted similar.
Let's go with Carl here real quickly. Let's try to speed it up a little bit. We're a little bit behind here because we got Trey in. So just a few sentences real quickly, Carl. What you think about Anthony here?
I think the fit here is as good as it gets. I had Anthony going to the Magic in both of my 2 previous mock drafts. I think they needed a scorer. They went out and got him. Great pick. Love it.
Anthony.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I still, like I said before, I think Cole Anthony is going to be the biggest bust of this draft. However, going now at number 15 rather than somewhere in the top 10, which I was kind of expecting the Knicks to take him, but being that they didn't, he's got a little more room now to not have to live up to a top 10 pick potential. Like he can, he can kind of be like a nice surprise and develop well and maybe even be a, pretty good player. But I like this pick for Orlando. Be interesting to see what else they do moving forward. They were in the playoffs this year. You never know. I think this could take them in another step in the right direction. You maybe even make it into the second round. Bold prediction: Orlando Magic second round of the playoffs.
Man, another nuts on the table pick here. Jeremy, real quickly, what you think?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this pick. Anthony, I had him at 12 on my board. I think the Magic are definitely in need of another guard. He falls right into their lap at 15. I think that's a no-brainer for them. Between him and, I would say, Tyrell Terry is probably the only other point guard I would consider taking there. And I have Anthony slightly above him, so I think it's a good pick.
All right, Braden, real quickly, sentence or two. What do you think Cole Anthony going to the Magic, stealing minutes from the previous number 1 overall pick, Markelle Fultz?
I like it. Like everybody said, I think everybody kind of hit on everything on the dot. So I don't want to sound too repetitive, but great pick overall.
All right, so the next pick is out now. It's Portland is shown as selecting, but we all know that the NBA is weird and doesn't operate like other sports where trades are not official until a few days after the draft. So even though it is Portland picking here, and even though they traded the pick away to Houston, Houston traded the pick to Detroit, and Detroit is picking Isaiah Stewart at the number, 16 spot. Yep, Isaiah Stewart. We'll start with Jeremy here with this one. Jeremy, what do you think about Isaiah Stewart going to Detroit?
This is an interesting one. I like Isaiah Stewart in terms of his upside. I think I had him at 27 or around there. Yeah, 27. I think it might be a little too early. And then again, him going to the Pistons, they struggle, to say the least. I think he has potential as a stretch big. His free throw percentage was very good, so I think that might translate to an outside shot. I don't know if he's going to get starters minutes, or I wouldn't assume that him coming in, but I think he could be a potential good role player for them. If they hang on to Christian Wood, he's not going to start. But if Christian Wood moves on, he could get some time.
Braden, what do you think of this pick, Isaiah Stewart?
I
to
don't
Detroit?
like it. I just don't think Pistons make very good moves lately. I think they're still going to be the draft lottery team next year. I don't think they have really improved. So I don't know. Pistons got a lot to prove.
Anthony.
Yeah, it's kind of a for me. It's kind of a pick. I guess from the position that they were in, and there's apparently there's some ties between Detroit's GM to one of Stewart's coaches in college. I don't know if that just made him a higher sell for them to trade and take him, but you know, it could be a good thing for them. I feel like Isaiah Stewart's kind of an up in the air player, so I mean, we'll see. I mean, listen, it's Detroit, it's the Pistons, it's kind of where guys just go to die nowadays. So I hope that's not the case, but we'll see.
All right, Carl, what do you think? Is this the next Andre Drummond? And if so, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, he's not Andre Drummond because this guy is 6'9", 6'10", and as of right now, is not. He's a good rebounder. He can get down low, knock some bodies around, but right now he's like a really post-centric player. It's kind of a confusing pick for me because I think he probably would have been there in the late first, maybe even early second round. Especially after drafting Killian Hayes, I feel like they probably should have drafted more of a sure thing here. He was Stewart was rated pretty high coming out of high school. He was like a top 3 or 4 player in the class.
Carl, I hate to interrupt you right now, but I think I just saw Jeremy react to it. I think we saw it at the exact same time. The Clippers are trading Landry Shamet to the Brooklyn Nets for the number 19 pick.
I actually didn't see that. I was reacting to Pokusevski getting taken 17. I believe that's going to OKC.
That's going to OKC.
Right?
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second. But just real quick, sorry to interrupt you there, Carl, but breaking news from Woj right there. That's pretty big to me. Shamet, I like Shamet. He's pretty good. But Clippers, apparently there's someone that they like better at 19. So, Carl, go ahead, finish your thought. Again, sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're good. Yeah, basically, I don't like the pick for Detroit. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I think they could have gotten him a lot later if they wanted to trade down. So that's kind of the sum of my thoughts. I'm just a little confused by it.
Lamar, let's go to you next.
Yeah, Stewart went way too early. I had him at the end of the first, early second. I don't know what Detroit's trying to do, but I don't like the pick at all, really.
All right, Dakota, let's go to you just real quickly so we can move on to the Pokusevski pick, but we'll start with you at the Pokusevski pick too. So just go ahead, finish out with Isaiah Stewart, and then if you want to, you can roll right into the Pokusevski pick.
So for the Isaiah Stewart one, I think this is a perfect pick for Detroit. He was a first team All Pac-12 player for Washington, as well as averaging 17 points per game and 8.8 rebounds.
Okay, Dakota, I'm very sorry about this, but also breaking news. So the number 19 pick that the Clippers just got, they are trading it to the Pistons for Luke Kennard.
Really?
Yeah,
Luke Kennard?
So, hey, we were complaining about there not being trades. Now they're happening quicker than what we can report on the draft and the trades. Sorry, Dakota. Go ahead. Finish up your thought with Isaiah, and then we'll move on to Pokusevski.
No, I was just saying that I think it's a good pick because Isaiah Stewart was able to average 17 points per game and 8.8 rebounds per game, as well as be a first-team All Pac-12 player. But with the I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, Potrevetsky.
Yeah, it's a toughie.
I think it's a good one. I mean, OKC is obviously rebuilding this year. So they're going to probably go out and get like a lot of young guys, just to kind of see who they want to keep and who they don't want to keep. That's what they're going to be doing the next few years with all these first round draft picks and stuff, is just to see who they want and who they don't. It's kind of like a MLB type move. You know, you go out and get a lot of youngsters and bring them in, see who you want to keep, who you don't want to build around. So I think it's a good move for both teams there.
All right, Jeremy, let's go to you next. The pick.
Yeah, so a couple things happened. Josh Green just got taken to the 18 of the Mavs, which, I mean, we'll talk about that in a sec. I think the Pokusevski pick is just yet another example of OKC really showing that they're in rebuild mode. You know, he's definitely a project. He's 7 foot or 7'1". He's very thin, but he could do a lot of things. He could pass the ball well for someone his size. He could shoot the ball well for someone his size too. So in a couple of years, he could be a great piece to that team. And then at 18, Josh Green. I'm not a huge fan of Josh Green. I have him ranked in the 40s. I don't really like his fit in the NBA, I guess. He's more of a mid-range guy than a three-point shooter. But the Mavs definitely need depth at the shooting guard position. So in terms of the need for them, it's not a bad pick. I am not high on him, so that's not a pick I would have made. But
I think we just had Lamar drop out. Maybe we can get him back in here in a second. But okay, Braden, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go with start with the Paku pick, and then we will move into the next pick that just happened. What was the? I'm sorry,
Okay,
I missed the what? Who? Dude, things are happening so quickly. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Let's go one at a time, Jackson.
Yeah, okay, one at a time. We'll stick with the Paku thing here. Go with the Paku thing, Braden.
All right, okay, all right. Well, with OKC, rebuilding like everybody says, I think this is a very, very smart move. He's only 18 years old. Give him a couple of years to develop, and continue to draft other guys. This was a very, I think, very, very good move for OKC. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do, what direction they head to the next couple of years, but look for this guy to be pretty good in the next maybe 3 years.
All right, Anthony, you.
All right. Look, Paku, solid pick for where they are. I think he could end up being pretty good for them. Listen, these Serbian players are like taking over the league right now. And it's like almost everyone that comes out, you got to just think that there's something about them, like they're going to have some potential to at least be a like decent player. But I like the pick. I like the pick by OKC. I think it's going to be good for them.
All right, Carl, what do you think?
Yeah, I can just echo what a lot of other guys are saying. I think for where they are right now, they've been basically having a fire sale lately, just loading up on draft picks. I think they have like 18 or something over the next like 7 seasons, which is insane. But I think Poku, he presents a pretty interesting combination of like size and like playmaking ability, which the only real person we've seen with that kind of skill set is Jokic. Not saying he'll develop into a Jokic, but it's just he's an interesting player, and we'll see what the Thunder decide to do with him in the next couple seasons.
All right, so it was
Josh Green.
Josh Green, right? Yeah, Josh Green
Dallas.
for Dallas. Anthony, we'll go ahead and start with you here real quick.
Yeah, I'll go. Josh Green, decent player. He's got he's a pretty good mid-range shooter. Decent athlete. Look, honestly, I just didn't think he was going to go in the first round at all. I was thinking of him more somewhere in the second round. So I don't know why Dallas reached this far, but I don't know, man. I honestly don't like it. I thought Dallas reached way too far for this. I thought Josh Green should have been somewhere in like the second round.
All right, Carl, we'll move on with you. What do you think about this pick for the Mavs?
I'm not super high on Josh Green. The only player who comes to mind really when I think of his skill set is Andre Roberson, who I'm also not a huge fan of. Not a fantastic shooter, can defend pretty well and should be good defending multiple positions. I guess Dallas doesn't really need any more offensive firepower than they already have. I agree that he probably would have been there later. It's not a bad pick, not a great pick, just like a meh.
Okay, Dakota, you next. Josh Green here going to.
Are we talking about pick number 19 here?
We're talking about 18. We're talking about Josh Green to Dallas real quickly, and Jeremy already gave his piece on that. So then we'll move to 19.
Josh Green to Dallas. I don't know. I mean, I'm not too fond of Josh Green. But I mean, if Dallas thinks it'll work, then it might work. They have 2 stars in Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. But if they think this pick is going to work, then sure, it'll work for them. But that's just my opinion on it. I'm not too fond of Josh Green.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, the fact that you have Doncic and Porzingis, you get a little bit more wiggle room with this pick. But still, they probably could have gone with someone better. So the number 19 pick. Let me refresh this feed.
Well,
number 19 officially belongs to Detroit now. After that crazy fiasco of not knowing who really had it to begin with, but Detroit, their third. What is it? Their third pick of the night? It is their third pick of the night. They are taking Sadiq Bey from Villanova here at number 19. Carl, we'll start with you on this one. What do you think of Sadiq Bey going to Detroit now with Killian Hayes and Isaiah Stewart? That trio.
This is probably the best pick Detroit has made all night. I think Sadiq Bey probably could have gone much higher than this, probably even like later half the lottery, end of the lottery. He's a really good shooter, so this makes a lot of sense since they just traded Luke Kennard out to LA. Yeah, he's a good player. He's developed a lot since he's been at Villanova. And he used to be a guard, so he has at least some playmaking ability. I think this is a great pick for Detroit.
Dakota, let's go with you next. Sadiq Bey, Detroit, and then of course their draft night as a whole right now.
It's perfect. I mean, yeah, they're obviously in a rebuild too, like I said earlier. But they are with this pick and the last pick that they just took, I think they're going to be in good shape for the future. Sadiq Bey is nice. I honestly wish that the Blazers would have drafted him. But I mean, the Blazers traded for Robert Covington, so I'm fine with that. But yeah, I think this is going to be a great pick for Detroit and Sadiq Bey.
Jeremy, we'll go with you next. What do you think? Bey in Detroit.
I pretty much agree. I like Bey, in the NBA as a 3-and-D guy, on the wing. He'll get a lot of 3-point shots in the corner. I don't necessarily think he's going to, elevate the Pistons to anything different. He's not going to do a lot. He's not going to put up a lot of points or, be that much of a difference maker. But he's a good role player, I would say. So I like the value at 19 there. And I just saw Woj just tweeted that Rodney McGruder is part of this deal. He'll be going to the Pistons as well. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see that. Nope. Thank you for informing us of that.
That just came out, and I'm trying to keep just refreshing Woj and Shams. Nothing's came out for Miami yet, so that's good that we might get a live reaction instead of a response to Woj. But
I see the Magruder thing now. Yep. Okay. So we're officially caught up now. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
After about 5 minutes of just
Wow.
panic.
That was it. Yeah.
Braden, let's hear your thoughts real
Hey.
quick on Anthony. Have you
Best
given your
and-
thoughts? Are we to? Is it Braden? Then you have you. We'll go to Braden.
All right, so
yeah, we'll go to Braden first.
yeah, okay, cool. Sadiq Bey, I think it was a good move for the Pistons. But like Jeremy said, I just don't think this is gonna really change how the Pistons are gonna play next year. I think the Pistons are trying to figure it out still. Like they're making all these moves tonight. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see what Pistons do by the end of the night.
All right, Anthony, we'll go with you. Last one to talk
Yep.
about Bay to the Pistons.
Yep. I like Beta the Pistons. So this is their third first round pick. Tell you what. So you got 3 chances to get one good person out of this out of the first round. Okay. So listen, you can't go up for 3, can you? So maybe one of these guys has got to work out. You know what? If you're a Detroit Pistons fan, that's all you're hoping for. You're hoping one of these 3 guys actually works out and is a good player for you. But I like Bay. I like the guys that come from Villanova. No, not necessarily them being like big time all-stars, but being like really good role players, if not like solid starters on teams. So from that aspect, I do like this pick for Detroit. I think this was a good pick for them. Definitely the best one they made tonight.
All right, so Jeremy, we spoke too soon. It looks like Woj and Shams
Drop the Woj.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and talk about it. Miami is looking to take Precious. Dude, I'm gonna butcher this. Achiuwa. Almost.
I think that might be the best way.
Almost have to say Gesundheit when you say his name because you have to say it like really angrily and like fast. But anyway, we'll just call him Precious from Memphis. Going number 20 here to Miami. Dakota, we will start with you on this one. What do you think about Precious going to Miami, defending Eastern Conference champs?
Oh my gosh, that is a good trade, or that is a good pick right there for them. They can put him at the power forward position with Bam Adebayo at the center, and it's going to make them even better. I love Precious. Like I said, I wish that was one guy that the Blazers would have taken, but I'm actually surprised that he fell this far. I had him going in the top 10. So for him to fall this far is just incredible for the Miami Heat to be able to take him. I love the kid with a passion, and I think it's a good trade for Miami, or a good pick.
All right, Jeremy, we'll go with you next. What do you think about Precious going to Miami, fitting in with that lineup?
I think this is an interesting pick, and I actually like it just because I think Achua can potentially be what Bam Adebayo turned into. So I think it's interesting that he's gonna, back up Adebayo and kind of learn from him. He's shown the ability to even hold the ball and drive up the court with the ball. So I think that's a trait that Adebayo has. And, he's a good presence around the rim. So I like the pick there.
Braden, what do you think about this pick?
I think this is a good pick. I think Miami, was just a great team to watch last year. I think they're gonna be able to do it again, or this past season. I think they'll be able to repeat what they did. I think they're a very, very good team, very talented. And they get this type of player, this type of caliber. I think it's gonna be fun to watch Miami next season. That's for sure.
All right, Anthony. Precious to Miami. What do you think?
Who's next? Me?
Yeah, you. Precious to Miami.
Oh,
what do you
okay.
think?
Sorry,
you're good.
You cut out real quick.
No, you're good. You're good.
I like it. Honestly, Precious. He really benefited from James Wiseman leaving Memphis, because that was when he kind of stepped up and started making his own draft stock rise a little bit. But I like him being he's a good defender. I think he's a good rim protector down there in the paint to anchor a defense. Also, like we said, he can finish around the rim really well. He can even dribble quite a bit. He's pretty athletic. So I really like this pick for Miami. I just feel like they're building a really like solid team there, and you know, even if he backs up Adebayo, you could have Precious coming off the bench with Adebayo starting. That's a pretty good big men tandem, coming in and out of the game.
All right, Carl, let's go to you. Uh-oh, we lost Carl.
Carl dropped out.
That's not good.
I think it just lagged him out.
Oh, there he goes.
Just lagged him out. Oh, no, he's back.
Carl's back. Yay.
Wait, sorry, that's my bad. I tried to hit the unmute button and hung up, so that's cool.
Yeah, it sucks that they're right next to each other.
Yeah, it's stupid. I think this is a really good pick. I was also gonna say pretty much exactly what Anthony said, in that he benefited a lot from not having James Wiseman in Memphis for pretty much the whole season, and he showed that he's a really valuable player in his own right. He's a good rebounder, good defender, plays hard, and I think Miami's really been building this like cool brand of really hard-nosed, like tough basketball players. And I think he'll fit in well with the culture they're building down there. Good pick. Like the value too.
All right, so before we move any further, just to remind you of one of our two sponsors for tonight. Oops, wrong one. There we go. That's the right one I want to be on. That's the affiliate page. So one of our sponsors tonight is XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee is a coffee made for gamers. They have a ton of rich and bold flavors that will surely keep you energized for your next gaming session. As you can see right here on the screen, I will be showing up. They've got all types of different flavors, 4 types of beans. In fact, if we go look at one, you can see you can get 12 ounce, 16 ounce, or 2-pound bags. You can even get whole beans, or you can get them grinded, depending on how fine you want your grind. And you can even choose between light, medium, or dark roast. Follow the link down in the description here of our video and use use that link and lose yourself in the wonderful taste of XP Coffee. Again, thank you to XP Coffee for partnering with us and sponsoring this stream of the 2020 NBA Draft. All right, ad read out of the way. We have the next pick. Looks like it is going to be Tyrese Maxey to the Philadelphia 76ers. Anthony, we'll start with you on this one. What do you think about Maxey fitting in with Philly?
I like this pick. I think Tyrese Maxey can be a pretty good player in the league. I kind of like what's going on with Philly a little bit. I like the fact that they got Doc Rivers in there now. They've been making a lot of moves, so I like this. I like Maxey because he was he's a good shot creator. He's somebody who can actually score from distance, which is something that they're missing at the guard spot. Having Ben Simmons being your primary ball handler. So this is good for them, having him and also adding Danny Green. So I think this is pretty good for the 76ers. From where they were, this is a pretty good pick for them. I like it.
Carl, what do you think about Maxey going to Philly?
I think Maxey's a decent player. I don't think this really helps Philadelphia's spacing issues at all. He shot like 29% from 3 last year. And, I would have liked to see them take a shooter just because with Simmons running the point, like the spacing is already pretty bad. So not a terrible pick, but not really that great either because it doesn't really help any of their major flaws. So.
Okay, Dakota, what do you think about this pick for Philly?
Yeah, I find it kind of interesting, just because Philly already has a point guard in Ben Simmons. Now, I said this on my last podcast, but I think that either Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid are leaving. One of those two are going to be traded. So, with them drafting what looks to be a point guard here, it kind of seems that maybe Ben Simmons is on his way out, either this year or in the offseason. So I mean, I think it could be a good pick, but again, I think this is just for depth purposes this year.
Okay, Jeremy, real quickly, what do you think about this pick?
I agree with Carl on this one. I'm not a huge Maxi fan. I had him ranked 23, so this is around where I expected him to get taken. I know a lot of people had him higher.
Oh yeah, I was seeing like
but
top
like Carl
5
said,
for some people with Maxi.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
and like Carl said, I don't really get how he's going to incorporate into this offense. And this fit kind of reminds me of when they took Zaire Smith a couple years ago out of Texas Tech. He had a similar skill set to what Maxi has. I would say Maxi's a little bit more polished on the offensive end, but Zaire Smith hasn't been able to do much. I know he's been injured, but he hasn't been able to contribute that much. And I don't know how Maxi's gonna get volume on offense. And I don't think he's a truly reliable scorer. Like Carl said, he shot 29% from 3. He's a streaky shooter, and I don't know how many chances he's gonna get shooting the ball when you got a lot of guys on that team who are gonna, take the bulk of the shots. So I don't say it's a bad pick, but I don't think it's the best pick that they could have made. I would have preferred them to take like Tyrell Terry, or it might be a little too high for Malachi Flynn from San Diego State, but I would have preferred them to take a point guard rather than an off-ball guard like Maxi.
Okay, Braden, what do you think about Maxi backing up in Philly?
I don't know if I am. I agree with this move. With this pick. Yeah, you still have Ben Simmons. Whether or not what you're gonna decide what you're gonna do with him. Obviously he might be on his way out, just like what someone was saying. But I don't know. I just don't know about 76ers. I just haven't really been a big fan of their moves lately. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
All right, Anthony, what you got for us with this?
Didn't I already say it on Tyrese Maxey?
Oh yeah, I think you did. I think we started with you and went to Carl.
I started ourselves,
yeah, my bad. My bad.
Yeah, it's all good.
Right,
it's all
wow, we did that one fairly quickly. I'm kind of proud of us. So just real quickly, a specific question for Jeremy here. Jeremy, you did the big board today for us. It came out yesterday, I think, actually, if I remember correctly. It was a nice read. A lot of good explanations on why you put certain players in places. What is one person on your big board right now that you're surprised that hasn't been taken yet? Because looking at it, you had R.J. Hampton in the top 10.
Yeah, that's probably the guy that I'm most surprised about.
We are getting close to the mid-20s right now, and he's not taken.
I thought he'd be around like 17 through 19. I thought he'd go around there. I thought maybe Brooklyn would take him. Mm-hmm. I knew he wouldn't get drafted this high, but I was really high on him because in the past couple weeks I was watching a lot of his game film, and I think, when he's much better with the ball in his hands, and playing for the New Zealand Breakers, they had him a lot as like a shooting guard, and he's better with the ball in his hands. So I think he's going to be much better in the NBA than what he was last year. And I'm kind of surprised that teams didn't pick up on that. I would have taken him by now if I had a pick around, 15 through 20. That's where I would have thought he would have went. And I could even see him getting taken higher than that. But I think he's a threat to score. He's a threat to pass. I think he's just great on the offensive end. And, he can improve on the defensive end. So, yeah, I'd say I'm surprised about him.
Yeah, just a few seconds left here. Do you think Denver is the team that takes a chance on him? They're not afraid to take chances. Well,
yeah,
never
they're
mind.
not.
The pick is in. So,
I think I would say I think they're taking a big. I didn't see. Let me
Yeah,
refresh
it
it.
is.
Zeke Nanaj. Okay.
Yep. Zeke Nanaj. So, Jeremy, since we're right here with you, we will go ahead and just stick with you here. Talk about the Zeke pick, how you think he'll fit in with Denver.
It might be a little bit of a reach, but he looked good in the offseason workouts a lot. He was a riser on my board. I originally had him in the high 40s, and I ended up slotting him at 30. I thought he'd be a borderline first round prospect. He's a good rebounder. He didn't really get the chance to showcase his offensive skill set at Arizona too much, but he showed that he has stretch big potential as a shooter. So I think it's a good pick for them. He could back up Jokic. He could be a good big in the second unit, which they didn't really have in the postseason. When Jokic was out, they kind of took a hit in regards to defense, especially at the rim. So I think he could be a big help for that. And I think that's more of a playoff pick for them, for lack of a better wording. Just he's going to be a guy that could help them in the playoffs, defend when Jokic isn't in the game.
All right, Braden, what do you think of the pick right here? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about this guy, so I'm kind of indifferent with right here, with what the Nuggets picked.
I had to agree. I have no idea. I have no idea who this guy is. I've never seen him play. But it'll be interesting to see what he does with Denver. I don't know. Denver has a pretty good team, so hopefully he'll fit well.
Yeah, Anthony, let's go with you.
Yeah, so I actually was able to see a little bit of Zeke in Arizona. I like him as a backup to Jokic. As everyone saw during the playoffs, during like the Western Conference Finals, the Nuggets really struggled to defend the bigs of the Lakers when Jokic wasn't on the floor, and even when he was on the floor, the bigs of the Lakers still were a little too much for them to handle. So I think having somebody like this who's a good rim protector, good in the pick and roll game, could really help them out come playoff time against a team that has a lot of size like the Los Angeles Lakers. So I think this improves the Nuggets overall. And even if Zeke, just ends up being a pretty good backup to Jokic, just to go in there for defensive purposes, I think that's pretty good for them. And based on where they got him, I think this is a good pick for the Nuggets. Denver definitely took a good step in the right direction here.
Carl, your turn.
Yeah, kind of like you. This is a guy who I didn't watch a ton. I think the Nuggets are in contention right now with the guys they currently have, so they can kind of afford to take maybe a little bit of a flyer on a guy who I think he'll be a solid backup to Jokic. He's a good rim protector, and apparently he developed a shot a little bit. So you kind of have to be a stretch big to survive in the NBA these days. So I think this is a solid pick. Like with the Nuggets, they're already pretty good, so can't really go wrong.
With Grant opting out of his contract earlier this week and hitting free agency, do you think this is more of a pick to try to replace Grant? Because Nuggets really don't have too much wiggle room when it comes to cap. Much easier to just pick a guy that you think can maybe fill in that same role, even if to a lesser degree. You still got some pretty decent pieces, and all around Denver is a solid team. They just need to get a little bit better. But is this just a reaction to Grant, that maybe they just took a guy that they thought is similar to Grant, that maybe not be the best player available, but it's just the best fit for what Denver's rocking right now?
I could definitely see some of that. I think I kind of expected them to take a big, whether or not Grant opted out. I had seen in a couple mocks that there were some people who had Jalen Smith going to the Nuggets, which probably would have been a pretty good pick had he stayed on the board this long. But I can definitely understand where you'd be asking that. But I think I would have had them taking a big either way.
All right. Well, looks like Woj and Shams.
So the Knicks are on the clock.
The Knicks are on the clock again. Yes, it looks like they're probably at under a minute by now. Again, I'm on a stream, and well, since there's nothing too much to talk about right now, we'll go ahead and we'll do a second ad read from our second big sponsor of the night, and that is Forever Grips. Forever Grips has all the gaming accessories that you need. Forever Grips has covers and for your controllers and grips for your controller analog sticks as well, of course. Mouse pads for PC gamers, headphones, and a multitude of other great accessories. No one beats the quality and affordability of Forever Grips. Follow the Forever Grips link down in the description of the video below of our stream. And use our code VSM15 at checkout, and you will receive 15% off your order. Again, thank you so very much to Forever Grips for partnering with us and sponsoring our coverage of the 2020 NBA Draft. All right, so it doesn't look like we have too much time left. Trying to think.
Let's see. Did we break this?
Oh, here we go. Leonardo Bolmaro.
Bolmaro.
Or Leandro,
Okay.
excuse me. Leandro Bonarmo. So,
Is that an international player?
yeah.
Oh yeah, Barcelona. The Barcelona guy.
Yeah,
Barcelona.
Carl, we'll start with you.
Yeah, the
You seem to be
Barcelona
the
guy,
most
okay.
familiar with him right now, so we'll start it off with you here.
Yeah, so this guy, from what I've seen, I think he's like a 6'7", 6'8" shooting guard, I want to say. I just think this is such a bizarre pick for the Knicks to make, considering that they need guys who can contribute now, and I'm pretty sure Bolmaro is going to be a draft and stash, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably, yeah.
So I don't really see what the point of this was, because they could have taken a guy who could get rotational minutes now, probably. So it's a little confusing. I'm sure they probably had their own reason for it, but I don't get it.
Jeremy, let's go to you next. What do you think about this pick?
Yeah, again, I agree with what Carl said. Bolmaro, he's 6'7". He's a pass first guy. He doesn't. I don't know if you can classify him as a point guard or a shooting guard. I would just classify him as a guard. But yeah, he's going to be a draft and stash guy. I don't think he's going to be ready to play next year. He's definitely got to bulk up, and work on his shot. I had him at 35.
Well, he is actually not going to be on the Knicks. There's a trade that just came in.
Oh, great.
Yep, the Knicks are trading his rights to Minnesota for picks number 25 and 33. So he will not be a Knicks stash. He will be a Minnesota stash. Does this change anything? So for Carl and Jeremy, who have already spoken, does this change anything? Worse, better, the same?
I feel like it's worse because Minnesota needs bench. And I don't think he's going to be ready to play in December. Like I said, I think he's going to be a draft and stash guy. So I don't really understand that because they need the bench depth. Maybe not at the guard position. Now that they got Edwards, they have Culver and Josh Okogie. So again, that just adds more confusion to that. I don't really know why they'd go out and get another guard just to not play him. But I don't know.
Yeah. Braden, we'll move to you here, and then we'll move to Anthony. What do you think about this pick, just in general, regardless? Even though the Knicks didn't pick, or the Knicks picked him, but immediately traded him. So what do you think about this pick here for Minnesota?
I think I have to agree with Jeremy and Carl. I don't really know much on this guy, but when you're trying to win and get some guys in. I just don't think it's a very smart move to pick these type of players. So that's my opinion on it.
Anthony, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, To be quite honest, I think what Jeremy said, this might be even worse, being that now he's on the Timberwolves instead of the Knicks. Um, I just I don't really get why you would take um this like him here. He's not ready to play. From what I believe, I think he hasn't even played like 100 professional games yet over in Barcelona, which is a little strange for guys his age are being drafted, because normally they turn pro when they're 16. So him not even playing 100 career games.
Anthony froze on me. Anthony, if you're there, you're frozen for us. There you are. You're back.
Oh, am I? Oh. Did
You're-
you hear me, or was I just frozen?
You froze there for a second. But go ahead and just finish your thoughts real quick, because we got a trade. That is
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know why the Timberwolves made this move. I'm not too high on it. Yeah, that's really
Okay.
about it.
All right.
I'm just not too high.
All right. So, Jeremy, you and I were right about the Nuggets. R.J. Hampton. It is being selected number 24. It is ending up in the hands of the Nuggets after some more trades. And R.J. Hampton will go at number 24. According to Shams.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm trying to figure out what Denver gave up. I don't think
that is.
You're on Shams, right?
Yeah.
Shams put
He
that
is
one out,
reporting
yeah.
New Orleans is picking R.J. Hampton at number 24 and trading him to Denver. That's all we got right now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they gave up for that, because I mean, they just drafted at 22, so I'm surprised that they would. Now they want Hampton after passing on him when they could have
just taken him.
They could have probably traded for like 29 or 30 and got Zeke Nanaj. So
yeah,
I'm big on Hampton, so I like the pick. I guess depending on what they gave up for him, since they already spent the first rounder, but I think Hampton's a solid player.
We'll find out as more information comes available. We'll announce that. Let's go to Anthony real quick, because we kind of had to cut him off short last time. So R.J. Hampton, another player that just seems to fall into the lap of this Denver Nuggets team. I'm starting to think that are their GMs actually doing a good job, or are players just kind of falling into their lap and they're just like, well, we'll take this guy. No one else did. We like him.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I think this is another good pick for the Nuggets. Well, not a pick. They got him in the trade, but still, regardless, I think this is good for them. Yeah, this is it's a solid pick. I like Hampton. I think he could be a decent player in the NBA. Didn't get to see too much on him because he didn't play in college. I believe he played overseas. Am I right on that?
Yes.
Yeah, he played out in Australia. Yeah, he played in Australia, so I didn't get to see too much of him. But you know what? I think he could be a good player for this Denver Nuggets team. I like it.
Yeah, and so far right now, there's still not a whole lot of information about what Denver gave up for him. It just says a future pick, so it looks like I don't know what it is that they gave up. Maybe it's a future. I don't think it'd be a future first round. I feel like that would be a lot, even though it is the Nuggets. But Carl, we'll go to you next. What do you think about R.J. Hampton going to the Nuggets?
So I will say, for R.J. Hampton, this is probably the biggest disagreement in terms of like player evaluation that I have with Jeremy on really any of the prospects on the draft board. I'm really not high on this guy at all. I think he's pretty inconsistent, and for someone who relies a lot on his athleticism and finishing at the rim, he's also just not great at like finishing at the rim. Streaky shooter, not kind of hurts your spacing a little bit. But that being said, going to the Nuggets, who have some pretty good guard depth already and some guys who are pretty seasoned, I think this is a good pick if you're banking on his development. Again, like I don't I'm not super high on him, but again, I'm not a professional scout, and there are guys who have watched him more than I have. So, uh, yeah, I don't love R.J. Hampton, but I don't hate this pick.
Okay, Braden, real quickly. Again, things are moving pretty fast here. So just a sentence or two, real quick, about R.J. Hampton and the Nuggets, and then we'll move on.
Cool. I like this
Dakota's
pick.
back, nice.
I think Denver. I'd say straight, but it's still a good move. Denver has a pretty deep team. Let Archie Hampton develop, and maybe he does doubt. And maybe he could prove Carl wrong. Saying hey, he can actually do something in Denver. I don't really know. But it's still a good move. So we'll see.
All right, Dakota, since you've missed the past couple ones, we're going to give you a back-to-back twofer here. So go ahead and talk about the R.J. Hampton pick real quickly, going to Denver. And then we will then hop into OKC is selecting Emmanuel quickly at the number 25 spot, but then that is getting shipped off to the Knicks right now. So R.J. Hampton Nuggets, Emmanuel quickly Knicks. Go.
So RJ Hampton is going to the Nuggets.
He's going to the Nuggets. Yes, there's still it's still unclear what exactly is in that trade. I've just seen a future pick. That's the only thing that Shams is reporting. Shams, however you pronounce his name, I've heard it pronounced both ways by multiple people. So a future pick there, and then whatever. I don't know. I don't know what exactly this deal is with OKC and the Knicks. I don't know if it was recently traded for something that's just brand new. So just go ahead and hit them both up real quickly.
Okay, so the RJ Hampton one, I like it for the Nuggets, only because they don't have very much size at the shooting guard position. They have Jamal Murray, and then they have Torrey Craig, who was their starting shooting guard, and then they have Michael Porter Jr. and Nikola Jokic. I like RJ Hampton because he could become a starting shooting guard for the Denver Nuggets by the end of the year. And then the other one I'm not quite sure on. It's just weird. The Knicks are sending Bolmero to Minnesota for the number 25 and 33 picks. That'll be interesting. I'm not sure where Bolmero came from.
Okay, so that's how they got it. Okay, so that's how the Knicks got it, because they sent that to, I guess, Minnesota. I don't know. Draft night trades, it gets really weird, and there's so much interwoven. It's almost impossible to keep up with until after the draft is over, and then you just see where the person actually lands. Be like, okay, that's where they were at.
Yeah, they traded it to Minnesota for these picks.
Okay. All right.
That's what they got. The
all right. Well, 30. we'll go ahead and move on to Jeremy then. Jeremy, talk to us a little bit about the Knicks' new player that they got.
I actually like this pick too, going to New York with Quickly. Now I'm not as high on Quickly I didn't have him as a first round grade. I had him at pick 41, but there's been a lot of first round buzz on him in the past couple weeks, and he ends up in the first round, which I guess now was expected. I think it's a good pick though, because they definitely are in need of a point guard, and Quickly was a pretty good point guard at Kentucky. I think the reason I had him a little lower was because he was playing out of position sometimes, and I don't think he's great at spacing the floor, so I think he needs the ball in his hands. I think that's going to be my one knock on him, as he's not going to come in the league and be a great scorer, so it's going to be tough for him to carve out a role, especially when he needs the ball in his hands. But the Knicks need a point guard, and I mean, if he can have the ball in his hands in the second unit, he could work his way up and be a pretty good pick for them.
Okay, Braden, do you know much of anything about this guy at all? Have you seen much of him?
No, I haven't. But I think this guy's, I like how the Knicks are going at this draft this year. They got two guys. To at least have a decent, good chance to have a really good year. It's gonna be interesting.
Okay.
But I just let you guys
Um,
talk a little bit more. Then I don't
okay.
really know much.
Well, then we'll move on to Anthony. Then Anthony, what you got?
Yep. So tell you what, okay, it was good. The Knicks finally took a point guard here. Definitely needed it. You couldn't go out of this first round without grabbing a point guard. So I like this pick for them. Personally, I don't know. This may come back to bite me. This may be one of the best jobs I think I've seen from the Knicks drafting wise in a really long time. Like this, they finally didn't take, guys that were like so out there that it was just like impossible to get a hit on. But
Yeah,
they got two guys now who like can actually play, and they they're NBA ready to, maybe not to be all stars, but they're NBA ready to at least compete in the NBA. What were you gonna say, Jeremy?
I think they've set the bar really low for themselves past couple years. So this draft is looking like a little. I think we think like, oh, they're at an A right now, which in reality I don't think it's an A, but I think they're doing pretty good with fulfilling their needs. I like the Toppin pick, just based on the value and what he can bring to the New York franchise. And I like Quickly as a backup point guard, which is something they need. So I think they're doing good so far.
All right, Carl, we will go to you because the Boston pick should be in any second now, and we'll probably see Trey coming back on here. Good mood, bad mood, don't know yet, but go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. As far as this pick, I think it's pretty good. I think it's good they got a guard. Desmond Bane's my guy, and I really think that would have been a better pick than Quickly here. Quickly's he's a better shooter than Tyrese Maxey, I'll tell you that much. And he's the same size as Maxey. He might honestly be a better player than Tyrese Maxey is. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know that he was the best option for the Knicks here. I'm glad they got a guard, but I think Desmond Bane, Tyrell Terry would have been good picks. Maybe somebody who has a little more upside than Quickly does. But yeah, I'd agree. I don't think this has been a terrible draft for the Knicks.
All right, so the pick is officially in for Boston. We'll go ahead and we'll start talking about it. If Trey hops in, he just hops in, and we'll move on from there. But they are
Trey's going to be really happy about this one, though.
Yeah.
Can I start?
Oh, did you not do this guy yet, Dakota?
No, I didn't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dakota. My bad.
I'm not quite sure on Quickly. Obviously, it'll be good for New York to take a guard. But I wanted to start with Peyton Pritchard and Boston taking him.
Yeah.
I freaking love Peyton Pritchard with a passion. As an Oregon fan, it has been a blessing watching him the past 4 years. Just with the fact that, he started with the team that had Dylan Brooks, Jordan Bell, and Tyler Dorsey on it, and Chris Boucher. And then every year after that, he led the Ducks. Even if they didn't have like another star player on the team, he led them to at least the Sweet 16 every year. 2 years ago, he almost the Ducks almost beat Virginia, who went on to win the championship. So I love Peyton Pritchard Boston going with Peyton Pritchard here. And I think that's going to be a great pick for them. I think Peyton Pritchard could start maybe for them in the next couple of years, but right now I think he's going to be a backup point guard for at least the next 2 years.
Yeah. Basically, as long as they got Kimba on there.
Yeah.
But they got their scoring point guard that Trey loves and that I think Celtics fans will be excited for in the future.
A lot of leadership to the team as well.
Mm-hmm. Carl, let's bounce to the end with you here. What you got on the white dude from Oregon?
Yeah, I also really love Peyton Pritchard. He's a fun dude to watch play. I am on the East Coast, so I don't get to see a ton of Pac-12 games, but he's fun, and he can shoot. And when he's on, he is just a walking bucket. He can really shoot the ball. He's a leader. We'll see how it works out just because the Celtics guard rotation is so crowded right now. But I like him. I like the pick. We'll see how Trey feels about it, though. He might hate it. I don't know.
All right, let's go with Anthony here. Anthony, what you got on Peyton here?
Yeah. So, yeah, like Carl, I'm also on the East Coast, so I don't get to see too many Pac-12 games. But I did hear a lot about Peyton Pritchard. Kind of sad I didn't get to see him in the NCAA tournament. I would have liked that. But if he's progressively gotten better over his college career, and I like a lot of 4-year guys. I think they're very well matured, well developed. He averages 20 points a game and shoots over 40% from three. Like, he is a good knockdown guy for them. And if you look at how he finished off his college career with 38, 23, 20, and 29 points, shooting the lights out in almost all those games, I think this is a good pick for Boston here. I actually like him as a backup point guard.
All right, so we got Trey Daubert back in with another Celtics pick. Trey, how you feeling right now, man?
I'm really happy with this one. He was on my list. I see, because I didn't watch much college basketball this year. I fucking remember that guy. He's a baller. He goes out there, he shoots the lights out of the ball. He's a good ball handler. I don't know if he's a great athlete, but he competes his ass off.
Yeah,
that guy's good.
I like Perry too.
I agree.
But I will say this: be careful of elite scorers coming out of Oregon, because the Grizzlies have one right now, and his name is Dylan Brooks. And you know how
this guy's
everybody on this site knows how I feel about Dylan Brooks. Now, I don't think he's going to turn into the Dylan Brooks. I think he's legitimately going to be a great backup behind Kimba for that second squad. I'm just saying, you got to have that asterisk. You got to have that caveat there.
He was like first team all NCAA.
You wanted to make that trade with Memphis when you sent that in the Slack the other day.
As a Ducks fan, I'm going to say this. Dylan Brooks does not have the competitiveness that Peyton Pritchard does.
Fair enough. You were saying, Trey?
What did Carl have to say about this?
We haven't gotten to Carl yet. Carl, go ahead.
No, I talked about him. I said this guy, like, I loved watching this guy in college, even though he's on the West Coast, so I didn't get to see a ton of him. But the guy's a walking bucket, and he plays so hard. And he's a leader. A lot of fun to watch. Like, the guard rotation will be crowded, but I'm pretty confident he can carve out some type of role for himself. Yeah, so I love the pick. I was hoping we'd snatch him either in the late first or early second round.
The biggest thing to me is over 40% from three-point shooting, and no more fucking Brad Wanamaker. Get that guy the hell out of here.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Brad. We'll be seeing you, buddy.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out, Brad.
Thank the heavens. Oh, I can't wait to get rid of that guy.
All right.
We'll see what happens, though. We got one more pick, and I'll come back.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move to Jeremy real quickly, and then Braden just real quickly, because then we got the next pick. We got Utah's pick in.
I go really quick if you want me to.
Go ahead, Braden. Just go ahead and in with Jeremy.
I was just gonna say really quick. Everybody kind of already talked about it, but it's really it's a lot of fun to watch in the NCAA tournaments. Obviously not. This guy's really good. I think I'm excited for this one. It's going to be pretty good. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm going to disagree with everyone. I like Pritchard. I like watching him. I think he's a guy that everyone can definitely root for just based on how hard he plays. I just don't think he's not an elite athlete, and I don't see his ceiling being any higher than what he is now. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to get 20 a game in the NBA or anything like that. I think he's, like I wrote, I have him at 51. I said, overall, Pritchard projects to be a capable point guard for a second unit, and I think that's about the best that you're going to get from him. He's a good backup point guard. I just don't think he's going to get it to the next step, get to the next level. So I would take him in the second round. I feel like it's a little early. I know Trey and a lot of you guys will disagree, but I don't think he's a first-round guy.
All right, so Jeremy, we'll stick with you here for this since we're already here. The Utah Jazz, first off, they're shipping off Tony Bradley to create some cap flexibility. But, I mean, nothing really pertaining too much for the draft right now. But the Utah Jazz are selecting Udoka Azubuike at number 27. Enlighten us.
Yeah, think no one really had him going in the first round in like mock drafts and stuff, but I think it's kind of inevitable that he was going to go in the first round just because he's so good around the rim. I guess it's the same pick that Denver made with Nanaj, that kind of situation, in the playoffs and stuff. When Gobert goes out, maybe Gobert gets in foul trouble, Azubuike can come in and hold it down at the rim. My only thing with Azubuike is he's definitely conditioned himself better in the past couple of years at Kansas than when he started off, but he's in foul trouble all the time. So as a backup set, like that's probably the worst position to get in foul trouble a lot in the NBA is as a center, especially like as a backup center to Gobert. If Gobert needs rest and your backup's got 3 fouls already in the middle of the second quarter, it's going to be tough to lean on him. So he's got to clean that up. But yeah, he's really good over the rim. Field goal percentage of over 74%. He broke the NCAA record. He can definitely contribute.
Dakota, you next. What do you think about this pick?
I don't know. I kind of like Tony Bradley backing up Rudy Gobert, as Jeremy said. It's going to be interesting knowing that this guy can get into a lot of foul trouble. But I mean, the main priority for Utah is free agent Jordan Clarkson, and them having to sign him to a long-term deal. So it'll be interesting to see if this works out depth-wise for Utah. And that's about all I have to say. And I hope it does work out because Utah is a nice team, and I love Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert.
Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, give me your thoughts on this pick right here.
Yeah, so you know what? I like it. I like him as a backup. Yeah, what Jeremy said, his fouls have to be cleaned up tremendously. But if he can clean that up, I feel like he can be a really good backup. I really like the big guys in the NBA. I like the rim protectors, elite defenders, rebounders. I mean, this guy, you can't get a rebound by him. He just snags rebounds like it's his job, blocks shots like crazy, and finishes at a really high percentage right around the rim. I mean, he finished last season with a 74% field goal percentage, and I mean that's pretty damn good. His free throws lack, but that's what you get. But for a backup center, I really like him. I think he'll be pretty good for the Jazz.
Carl, let's go to you.
I also kind of figured he'd be taken late first round. I just have a lot of question marks with him because his main skill is rebounding, but up until last season he wasn't really chunk. He wasn't really bad. Like Anthony said, this guy shoots 41% from the free throw line, which is just abysmal. He has 0 3-point shot to speak of, which I guess at that point depends on how you use him. He'll be a decent backup big, I think. Just throw him in there, knock some bodies around down low, maybe get a dunk or two. But he's probably about as good now as he's really gonna be later on.
Right, Dakota, my brain is fried right now. Have you gotten to talk about this pick yet? Okay. Braden, do you got anything to add before we move on? We had a trade happen.
I think some people have already covered it, but yeah, I watched this guy played in Kansas, and he's fun to watch. A lot of fun to watch. Yeah, he does get into foul trouble, stuff like that. But this guy has a pretty good chance to have a pretty good career, especially with Utah Jazz. So I like this move.
All right, we're getting down to the final few picks here. We're to the number 28th pick, which originally belonged to the Lakers, but was traded to OKC in the Dennis Schroeder trade. And the Lakers the Thunder ended up trading this pick to Minnesota. And Minnesota will be taking Jaden McDaniels with the number 28th pick. Dakota, we'll start with you on this one. What do you think? Jaden McDaniels, big night for Minnesota, making a lot of moves. What do you think of Jaden McDaniels fitting in?
Yeah, I like it. As I said earlier, I think Jaden McDaniels is probably one of the most underrated players in this draft. As a Pac-12 fan, I was able to watch him at the University of Washington, and he has some size on him. He's 6'11", 6'10", and he's a very good 3-point shooter. So he can easily be a stretch four alongside forgetting the name of their center right now.
Carl Anthony Towns.
Carl Anthony Towns, Big Cat. Yes, he can definitely be a stretch four alongside Big Cat, and be in the starting rotation for the Timberwolves. But I don't think he'll be in the starting rotation right away. I think he's gonna have to earn his minutes. But down the road, I could see him being their starting power forward.
All right, Anthony, let's go to you. What do you think about this?
You know what? I don't really know how to gauge the Timberwolves right now. I mean, I guess it's okay and good that they've kind of I don't know, they've been improving their perimeter players all night. And I mean, listen, Jaden McDaniels, he's a 6'9" forward. He can shoot a little bit. He can score. Not that great of a rebounder, but at the same time, you might not even really need that with Karl Anthony Towns there. I feel like he could turn out to be a good player. Not too sure exactly when, because I don't think he's not a guy that's going to be ready right away. So just depends on how they develop him. But I mean, he could be a decent player, but I don't see him being anything more than than a bench player or one of those role type of players in the NBA.
Carl, what do you think about the McDaniels?
Yeah,
pick?
I kind of touched on this guy earlier. I think he's more of a project than most people realize. And he's got good offensive upside, but there's so many aspects of his game that need to be cleaned up for him to be a valuable, even an NBA bench player. Like his shot selection at times is really, really questionable. And he turns the ball over a lot and just makes sloppy plays. So I think there's definitely a path to him being good in the NBA, but the path is a lot more twisty and complicated than I think a lot of people really want to admit.
Jeremy, you there? Have we already discussed this? I think we started with. I can't remember. Jeremy's not. Oh.
You just. No, I didn't discuss this.
Okay.
Yeah, I like McDaniel's upside. I had him mid-20s, I believe. 21, actually. I definitely build on his upside. With Minnesota, we talked about how they needed forward depth more than they needed. Or no, we talked about how they just needed depth in general. I talked about how he's a high-risk, high-reward first-round prospect. So I like that they got him late in the first round here. If they developed off the game, I think this could be a really good find for them.
All right, Braden, what you got for us? Jaden McDaniels.
I think this is a good move. You made a lot of moves this far. Moving everybody around. Definitely, I agree with Jeremy. High risk, high reward type guy here. It'll be interesting, especially when you get in late in the draft. There's a lot of unknowns. So this was a good pick, I think, for Minnesota.
All right. Just real quickly, we are to the 29th pick now, but the Celtics looks like they are moving the 30th pick. Not sure to who just yet, but Woj has been, he just tweeted that out. But we'll go ahead and we'll hop on the pick for Toronto. Toronto is taking Malachi Flynn at number 29. So let's start with Anthony on this one. Anthony, talk to me about Malachi Flynn. What you think of him? What you think about him fitting in Toronto?
Sure. Malachi Flynn. I like him as he's a pretty decent player. He actually shoots free throw percent pretty well. He's a good, pretty decent scorer. Shoots 44% from the field. With Toronto, their point guard situation, they got Van Vliet heading into free agency, so they don't really know what's going to happen with him. I see this as more of like an insurance policy in case Toronto loses some of their guards. But I like Flynn. I think he would fit well within Nick Nurse's system.
I knew it.
Like,
I'm sorry, but
it's okay, Jack. What's up?
Memphis is grabbing the 30th pick, and I knew that was gonna happen. Go ahead. Go ahead. I knew that was gonna happen.
That's okay. I was just finishing up saying I think he'll fit well. In Nick
I need them to take a Big Ten player here. I'm so mad. Like the Celtics and Xavier Tillman. Oh my God, that should have been.
you got one more. You got one more shot at this.
Yeah, we really swept this one out.
Yeah, but Jackson, we can move on to somebody else.
Let's go, Carl. Carl, we'll move to you next.
Yeah, so I was actually really interested. I was comparing Flynn and Van Vliet's college stats, and they're like pretty much the same dude. They're both like 6', 6'1", shot over 42% from the field, like just under 40% from three, 80% from the line. Yeah, they're kind of really similar players. So I would also agree that this is sort of an insurance policy for if Van Vliet walks, you can kind of get a different, maybe slightly lesser version of him for a lot cheaper. So I think this is a good pick for the Raptors. They've gotten the most out of Van Vliet, so this might work out.
Sorry, I'm vibing right now because I just saw who the Grizzlies are targeting with 30, and I'm happy about it. Dakota, let's move to you. Finish moving on here, or not moving on in pick wise, just moving on like in the rotation here. So Dakota picking up. What do you think about this pick?
I think it's pretty good. Malachi Flynn obviously has a lot of comparisons to Fred VanVleet. I think he'd be a good backup for VanVleet, especially this next year. VanVleet is going to be the starting point guard for the Raptors for years to come, though. So I'm not sure why they're picking him up, but maybe it's for when his contract is up. They're gonna have Flynn start then. This could be a insurance policy. So I kind of like it for Toronto, just because it'll give them some youth as well. But overall, yeah, Malachi Flynn has a lot of comparisons to Van Vliet, and he's going to be able to lead a second unit primarily.
All right, Braden, let's go to you real quickly.
Yeah, I know, Jackson, you're kind of excited about this next guy, so I'll go pretty quick.
Yeah, we got you, then we got Jeremy, then we'll go to the Grizzlies pick.
All right, perfect. I actually like this move. This guy was fun to watch for San Diego. I did watch him play as well, on TV and all that. But I don't know. This guy's good. This guy's cool. I think it was a good pick for Toronto. But like Dakota said, I think this was a good insurance policy in case Van Vliet leaves. So this was a good move.
All right, Jeremy, what do you think about the 29th pick?
Yeah, I like Malachi Flynn a lot. I had him 24. Yeah, 24. I talk about how I think he's got one of the best basketball IQs of anyone in this class. He's an incredible ball handler. He's really good in the pick and roll. Him and Siakam. I mean, I don't know how much playing time he'll get with Siakam, but Siakam's great in the pick and roll. I think Flynn's a guy that they could definitely build on. And then at 30, Memphis getting Desmond Bane. I really like that pick. I had Bane at 14. Bane's a really good shooter. I think that's a great play by them to trade up.
I'm so happy.
That's someone you have to trade up for.
So happy.
Great shooter.
Looking at Twitter right now, there are other, not necessarily analysts, but people that heavily follow the NBA, and they're already saying steal. And I love it. I love what our front office has been doing. Go Grizz, baby. I love
Go ahead, Jackson.
Love
Talk your
this
shit.
pick.
Talk your shit. Come on.
Bro, no, I mean, like you guys said, good shooter, great ball handler, hard worker,
yeah.
fits the grit and grind mold, especially the new grit and grind mold that the Grizzlies are trying to form.
Yeah.
I think he will fit greatly starting to come off the bench. This does make me kind of question about DeAnthony Melton or perhaps Tyus Jones's futures with Memphis right now. But hey, Bane, great pickup. I love him. I can't wait for him to get to Memphis and him get to work.
He should
Before we move
contribute
on,
right away.
it just came out the news on Klay Thompson, who we were talking about at the beginning of this draft. He did suffer an Achilles tendon injury.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
Wow.
Done for the
Clay,
year.
yeah, Clay,
Wow.
Clay's pretty much
Wow.
done.
Wow.
That sucks, dude. It really does suck. As much as I rooted against them for
Oh,
the past
God.
few years, I mean, yeah, you hate to see it. Klay Thompson's one of
Every
the best
time I hear
three-point
Achilles,
shooters.
I just think about watching Kobe go off that Achilles injury and effectively ending his career in 2013, and like I hate that.
At least
That's
that's what the Warriors are worried about.
Yeah,
But he's gonna undergo his official MRI on Thursday.
Yeah.
yeah.
And anytime I hear Achilles and tendon, you can't think good things.
Carl, you seem pretty happy about this pick too. Let's talk to you. Desmond Baines to Memphis. What do you think?
He's my guy. Like I've been preaching I've been leading the Desmond Bain bandwagon for the last like 2 months, it feels like. And I'm so glad that he's going to a team where he can contribute right away. He's definitely the steal of the draft. I don't understand how people didn't pick up on this earlier. The guy's a knockdown shooter, high basketball IQ, good defender. Has some limitations athletically, but he's got the size, the length to make up for that. Fantastic pick. Can't really speak highly enough about it.
Anthony, let's go with you with this one.
Yeah. So listen, I love this pick. I think this was a great job by the Grizzlies here. He shoots really well. 45% from the field, but his 3-point percentage is almost 45%. Well, 44.2, but we'll round up. We'll basically say 45 there. He's a pretty good player. I like him, honestly. And you know what? The Grizzlies are gonna be set up here going forward. I mean, 6'6" guard. He'll go right along with Ja Morant in Memphis. They got a good young squad cooking over there. With the Grizz, and I'm really liking it.
I love him so much. I think he's a future starter. I don't think they would trade up and take him right now with this rebuild. I think he starts, if not by All-Star break this year, he starts next year. I like him that much, and I think he's that good of an NBA player.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I had him at 14. I'm big on Desmond Bain.
Yeah, Braden, you got anything on Desmond Bain here? We're at the very
I think
end.
everybody's kind of said it already, but Desmond Bain is definitely an awesome, great player to watch. He's going to make immediate impact with the Grizzlies. Grizzlies has actually kind of got me excited to watch him a little bit for next year. You got Shamara, you have some other guys, young talent. Man, they're really, really looking forward for pretty successful next few years. So I'm kind of excited about this. This was a good move.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut in. I'm gonna head out. I just got to do some packing and stuff.
Yeah, you're good, Jeremy.
But yeah, it's been a fun night. I didn't get the Big Ten bet through. But,
That's tough.
Have a good night.
All right, we'll see you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
Later.
We're pretty much wrapping up here for the people that came out. Thank you so much for watching. If you are someone that is catching this after the fact, thank you for sifting through all the picks here. Of course, this will be archived, so anybody that wants to come back to it, take the receipts. If we said something about a guy that we weren't too high on and he turns out to be a stud, or if we all really like someone, he turns out to be a bust, then you can come back here and expose us. That's what Vendetta is all about. Real quickly, again, thank you to sponsors Forever Grips and XP Coffee for partnering with us for the foreseeable future, and of course being our sponsors for today, promoting them. And, thanks for everybody that decided to do this. This was something that we've been planning on less than a month now, maybe, but we made it work. And I think it turned out pretty good. Already looking forward to next year, and the second round's going on right now, so the draft ain't over yet, and then free agency starts Friday. So we're all gonna be very busy over the coming week. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to call it here. My name's Jackson Law, and I'm with Dakota, Braden, Anthony, Carl. Lamar was here for a little bit. Trey jumped in a few times, and Jeremy just dipped, but he was here the whole time. We're from Vendetta Sports Media, and we will catch you guys next time.
Later. Thank
All right,
you.
guys, that's it.
Thank you.
Let's
Good job.
go.
Wow. Woo. Nice.
All right. Draft
that
grades
was a-
post is ready to go. It's all done. Maybe you'll agree with them. Maybe you won't.
So let me see. Bowls